Erika Kirk has finally come out and directly addressed Candace Owens, giving her one word: stop. Now, Candace Owens had said for some time now that there's only two people who could stop her, and it's her husband and Erika Kirk. And now that Erika Kirk has formally requested that she stop, Candace Owens has, of course, responded, as everyone predicted, by saying, no. She says, stop what? Stop lying? What I lie about? So Candace is doubling down, and she's going to continue her antics, heavily criticizing Allie Beth Stuckey by calling her Jewish, which is not surprising, I guess. Now, this may be just a bit more drama, but it does connect to the bigger picture, and that is the Tyler Robinson hearing today. And we learned a bit. There's a big discussion about whether or not they're going to allow cameras in the courtroom. It looks like the answer will be yes. So this is all tied together. The question being, who killed Charlie Kirk, and is this trial going to prove it? And that's going to be, I think it's going to take a long time to figure out. All of these cases are taking forever. So we'll talk about that. Plus, apparently NATO is suggesting that World War III is coming, and I kind of roll my eyes. And I know a lot of people are saying, Tim, talk about the war, talk about the Venezuela stuff. And I'm like, guys, they keep screaming this in our faces. So, of course, we will talk about it, but we'll get there. And then we've got big midterm talk because Indiana didn't want to redistrict. The Republicans were like, no, we won't do that. So, of course, there are questions about the midterms. And I, for one, want to win because I don't want to go back to an era where we had lockdowns and people were forced to get medicated and things like that, and they were censoring us. So I think it's pretty dang important we actually win this one. Before we get started, my friends, we've got a great sponsor for you. It is Crowd Health. Head over to joincrowdhealth.com, my friends. Use promo code TIM. It's open enrollment. The season where health insurance companies hope you'll blindly sign up again for overpriced premiums and confusing fine print. Don't just take someone else's word for it. Trust yourself and take control of your future with Crowd Health, the healthcare alternative for people who make their own decisions. It's healthcare for under $100. You get access to a team of health bill negotiators, low-cost prescription and lab testing tools, as well as a database of low-cost, high-quality doctors vetted by Crowd Health. And what if something major happens? You pay the first $500 and the crowd steps in to help fund the rest. It feels like the options we used to have before Obamacare messed everything up. And of course, you'll join the crowd, a group of members just like you who want to help pay for each other's unexpected medical events. The system is betting you'll stay stuck in the same overpriced, overcomplicated mess. And this year, it's even more complicated because most of the ACA subsidies expire, which means your prices are going sky high. So far, Crowd Health members have saved over $40 million in healthcare expenses because they refuse to overpay for healthcare. This open enrollment, take your power back. Go to joincrowdhealth.com. Use promo code TIM. Get started today for $99 for your first 3 months. Now, Crowd Health is not insurance. Opt out. Take your power back. It's how we win. Joincrowdhealth.com. Shout out and thanks for sponsoring the show. And don't forget, head over to castbrew.com. We got a new blend for all of you, a new flavored, delicious coffee. It is the Rum Runners Roast Highlander Grog flavored coffee. It's bold. It's a buttery blend inspired by the Appalachian Moonshiners. Rum Runners Roast brings smooth caramel, warm vanilla, and a hint of spiced rum aroma for a rich, rebel-hearted cup. No alcohol, just legendary flavor. And we also got a bunch of other stuff, of course. We are sold out of pool water. Don't worry, we'll be restocking in the next few months. But we've also got everyone's favorite Appalachian Nights, Ian's Graphene Dream. My friends, there are so many different choices here at Cast Brew Coffee. You got Phil's 2 weeks till Christmas. And the funny thing is, it's literally now 2 weeks till Christmas. Boom! And we're back, baby! We went all the way around the year, and we are back. So check out castbrew.com. Don't forget, though, my friends, smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we have Tina from Moms for Liberty.
So great to be here with you in the dead of winter in West Virginia.
Indeed, I love it. So who are you? What do you do?
I am the CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. We're a national nonprofit organization fighting for parental rights, better education in America, standing up for kids, getting the big government out of our families.
Right on. Well, thanks for hanging out. Should be fun. We've got Libby hanging out.
I'm here. I'm hanging out. Really glad to be here with you guys. I'm Libby Emmons from the Post Millennial and Human Events.
Guys, what is going on? It is Brett, Pop Culture Crisis. Brett Cooper. I was going to start with What's Up, y'all, and do this, but I did not. Pop Culture Crisis is about to hit 384,000 subscribers. You should go over there and check out the channel.
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Philip Labonte from All That Remains. I am an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
So for those that have no idea why that just happened, Tate came to me this morning and he said, Grok's just straight up lying about the Timcast crew. It's the weirdest thing ever. And so I pulled up Grok and I said, who are the staff at Timcast IRL? And it said Tim Pool, Phil McGraw, Brett Cooper, and Ian Crossland. And we started laughing. And I was like, Phil McGraw. I was like, Dr. Phil and Brett Cooper. And so I asked it about Brett Cooper, and it gave me this really long-winded, it kept going, talking about how Brett Cooper worked for Timcast on Pop Culture Crisis before going solo. And it made everything up. It said that she moved from Maryland to Tennessee. And you know what I realized? It's not lying. It's in another dimension. It's an alternate reality. So it's getting everything right. It's just too good of AI.
Hallucinations are back, baby.
That's right.
See, if I was, I'm not mad. I'm not famous. Phil should be mad. Phil's famous, and they're mixing him up with another famous person.
Everything's like water off a duck's back. I don't care.
All the chat GPTs and everything still call Trump former President Trump. I mean, the amount of lies in these machines is a precursor for the end of information storage in humanity.
How fun. All right, let's jump into the first story we got for you guys. Now, we have this story from CBS News. Erika Kirk has one word for Candace Owens, who's been peddling conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk. And admittedly, it's all a bit of heavy drama. But I actually think this does matter for a variety of reasons. And I think this is actually a big piece of the story today, which was Tyler Robinson had his first in-person hearing. And we're learning a lot about what's going on. Now, however, there are way too many people that live in Wally World believing the most insane things because of Candace Owens. Now, I'm not going to sit here and claim the feds are telling you the truth or that the FBI is right about everything. And by all means, you're allowed to believe it's a cover-up, but I can certainly tell you that 68 Egyptian planes flying around on Utah time or whatever it is, the argument that she's making. She claimed that E4s and E5s were lieutenant colonels. Did you see this going viral recently? It is the epitome of unvetted absurdity.
Got to salute the E4 mafia now.
Yeah, that's right. And she's saying that the U.S. military is involved and Bridget McCrone's a man and all of these things. And it's all tied together. And it is crack pottery, but there are many people who are falling for this. Now, I want to get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk. And it may or may not be Tyler Robinson. I think the evidence suggests it is, because it's silly to think that the feds were going to plot out this cover-up and then do it as miserably as is being suggested. It may actually just be that the shooter plotted things out miserably, as has been suggested. But Erika Kirk has finally come out, and we have the story from CBS News. Erika Kirk has one word for Candace Owens, who has been peddling conspiracy theories about her late husband. She said, stop. In the town hall set to air Saturday at 8 p.m., CBS News editor-in-chief Barry Weiss asked Charlie Kirk's widow what she wants to say to Owens and others who are making unfounded claims about his assassination. Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop. Owens used to work for TPUSA, the conservative youth organization. This we all know. We understand. Now, we have a response. Candace Owens has basically said no. They go on to say that Erika Kirk talks more about her husband, so this is going to be airing later. Candace Owens is saying, her direct response was that Erika Kirk said stop lying. That was the question. And so Candace says, be more specific. Oh. What am I lying about? And it's funny because she pledged before that she would stop if Erika Kirk asked. So this is a grift. She's just peddling this for attention, and it's nonsense. And I do fear, again, to all those, I know a lot of people out there saying this is stupid drama, who cares? What I care about is a tainted jury pool. And when they actually start to bring jurors in and they are asked, do you think have you heard anything about Tyler Robinson? Yes, I have. And what have you heard? I heard that he's innocent. Candace Owens says it was the military that did it. That's going to taint the jury pool. And I almost wonder if she's doing it on purpose.
There's a lot of people out there that say things like, oh, it's okay for people to ask questions and stuff. And fair enough, it is okay for people to ask questions. But Candace isn't just asking questions. She's implying things, first of all. She's bringing up the FBI, and this is a Utah case. Right? Like, this isn't, as far as I know, this is not a federal case. This is being tried in Utah.
Yeah, it's Utah prosecutors.
Yeah, so it'd be the state police and the state DA that are actually handling it. The FBI was there to support, but the FBI isn't actually doing the case. There's just so many holes in everything that she says, and it's totally ridiculous.
Let me play this clip. You can hear what she said.
I already had this business. I was already at top of the charts. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I actually did, because it's so ridiculous. Okay. But she says, I'm lying. And Erika responds, and her answer to what do you want to say to the podcaster Candace Owens, who is lying, is stop. So Erika would like me to stop lying. And I would like to honor that. Okay. I can only honor that if Erika is more explicit in terms of what I have lied about.
Shocker.
What did I lie about?
Well, we can start with that when she said, quote, the shooting that Tim survived was committed by his brother. We can start there. You lied about that. Now, fine. That's not about Charlie. That's about me. But you're a liar who makes things up all the time. How about when you claimed that, I don't know, the easiest one most recently was that E4s and E5s were lieutenant colonels. They're not. I think it's 06. I'm not.
It's
but is it 06?
I think an 04 is a major. 05 would be lieutenant colonel, I think.
05?
Yeah.
See, I don't actually know, but I certainly know the difference between E and O enlisted in officers, and she doesn't. She has lied quite a great deal. And here's the thing. The game she's playing is, I'll start here. I have seen text messages. There are several conservatives who said Candace Owens was going around in the few months before Charlie was assassinated saying she hated Charlie Kirk. That is true. That is true. I have seen the texts. Now, the issue is, did she actually say it? Well, these people are going around behind the scenes being like, this is what Candace Owens told me. Candace is playing this game where she's saying, I got a tip from the military. This is proof. Well, clearly she didn't, because this guy didn't know what an officer was. Is it true that Candace got an email? Probably. And then she takes that email without vetting it, without fact checking it, and reports whatever it is as truth and says, I didn't lie. I told you. I got an email that said this. That's the game she's playing.
Mm-hmm. It's the same. Like I said, she's just making these implications. She just pulls any kind of garbage out of her whatever, so that way she can, continue the grift, because she doesn't answer questions. She's always got people hanging on the ledge. People can infer their own ideas from the things that she says, and people eat it up because it's just gossipy, a true crime crap.
Do you think this will have strong implications on the trial?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I think that there was a hearing today. It was the first time that Robinson was in court, and it was really interesting to watch. There was a lot of legal jargon, and I was with my team, and we were like, okay, what does that mean? What does this mean? And we were trying to figure it out. But one thing that was really important to both the defense and the prosecution, and so you have the defense, the prosecution, and then you have two lawyers in there that are represented media, right? Two different groups of media that are in there saying, like, we need access. This is a 1A situation. And so they're all negotiating different things, dates and, what's permissible and media access and all of these things. And one of the things that was true for all three of those groups of attorneys was that they were all saying that the trial needed to be very clearly transparent and fair. That was the key thing. And pretty much everything they were arguing about was how to ensure that the trial was as just and fair as possible. And that's their biggest concern with having media in there, with all of this talk that they had about what's classified as a witness.
But the question is, are the manipulations and lies from Candace Owens going to affect the outcome later on?
I think anything that jurors hear ahead of time is going to impact it. We see that with past trials as well. Like, if there's the more publicity, I think that we can be worried about the Luigi Mangione case as well, because you have all these people out there just being super supportive of the alleged killer, as opposed to looking for justice. They're looking for all of these reasons why he's not the guy.
Reminds me of during the Derek Chauvin trial, when they wanted to change a venue and they didn't get it.
Yeah, they didn't get it. And then you also had jurors after the fact saying that they didn't necessarily believe that Chauvin killed him, but they thought that he wasn't compassionate enough for it. You have had cops come out after that saying the knee hold or whatever it is was standard police procedure, and Chauvin followed it. And the cops have come out and been like, so police brass essentially lied when they said that he wasn't supposed to do that. That was part of our training. Yeah. And there was a lot of stuff in the Chauvin case where ahead of time, you even, I think, had the governor being like, this guy has to be convicted. You had a lot of people being like, this guy has to be convicted. Even Joe Biden, I think at the time, was demanding that Chauvin be convicted before he'd seen the evidence. And it was all just prejudicial.
And then the judge said that it was impossible to have a fair trial, but they wouldn't move. Mm-hmm. And I think that's grounds for total dismissal. Mm-hmm. Instead, they had a biased jury that came in at surrounded by men with guns as rioters burnt down the city, and they were supposed to give an honest assessment of what actually happened.
Yeah.
What I absolutely love about the Chauvin trial was when the police testified it was actually the defense that brought this up, the continuum on the use of force. They said that Chauvin was actually entitled, based on the resisting of arrest from Floyd, to use a taser to escalate from a physical restraint to an impact weapon, and chose not to, which clearly shows that he limited the use of force against George Floyd.
Would that have been because he was saying that he was having trouble breathing and the use of a taser would be...
No. He could have tasered
That's what I'm
him.
saying. Is that why he probably chose not to rather than...
No, because he should have. George Floyd was physically resisting arrest. When Chauvin arrived, this is a guy who fought his way out of a vehicle, and according to police training, he could have drawn his taser and shocked him.
Oh, he
instead
said that he had problems breathing after he was already in the car. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he fought his way out, and Chauvin opted for a leg on the neck restraint on the neck/back. It's and they still said he was guilty. Because if you're in the jury and you walk into the building surrounded by a bunch of guys with guns as people are burning the city down, and what was it? What case was it where the pig's head was sent to the person's house?
I forgot about that one.
I don't know if that was Chauvin.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Or like Rittenhouse or something, but yeah, the jury gets the message, and the judge was told they need to move venues, and he says there's nowhere in the state where you'll get a fair trial.
The media is poisoning the well on Mangione too. Remember, I just literally, Tim, I sent you a message the other day about there was an article on TMZ that just called him the killer rather than putting alleged in front of it, which they should be doing until he's prosecuted anyways.
Yeah. So now you have like the story that I told where I met 3 young men who said, what do you think?
Yeah, it was an expert witness in the Chauvin trial.
Yeah, he had a pig's head.
Yeah.
At his home. Right. Message loud and clear. And then I met these 3 young guys. They're Gen Z, and they believe everything Candace said. They were like, Israel killed Charlie Kirk. And they were like, that's what they said they believe Candace. And this is the narrative that she has created. So her show getting as much viewership as it does, these people are going to be called to testify, or they're going to be called to the jury, and they're going to have a very difficult time finding an untainted jury pool because they're going to be like, I heard it was Israel.
Yep.
What about the bush? And they're gonna be like, there's no bush. I'm like, what about that secret underground hatch? And they're like, that you're talking about a control panel. And they're gonna be like, but what about the Egyptian airplanes? And they go, that's not real. Okay, this jury's out. This juror is out. And it's gonna be a ton of them. And then the worst thing, some of them will just lie. Because their attitude is gonna be, I have to take this into my own hands to expose them. Mm-hmm. And Candace Owens already said she thought that Tyler Robinson was innocent. So here we go.
Yep.
Do you really think that, I feel like a lot of this is on X and in Candace world, average people on the street, it hasn't made it to the level of riots in the street. When you're comparing the cases, the George Floyd case, it was present in the streets everywhere, riots. It was all over every news channel. I feel like some of this is in podcast X world, and maybe average Americans that might be called for the jury pool actually haven't heard about any of this.
I think if you're outside of Utah, that might be the case. But I think that in Utah, which is obviously the jurisdiction, I think that people are probably acutely aware of it. And I imagine they're more, they're more receptive to the media that's going on. Not saying that you're wrong, but I think you're right in, other places as it gets further away. But in Utah, Utah is not the most populous state, specifically it was in the Salt Lake area. I mean, it's a fairly small community. And I think that people are what? Utah County? Okay.
When I finish.
But I think, like I said, I think you're right nationally, but I imagine in Utah, where they need to find the jury, it's probably a little more acute.
I think it's going to be saturated in Utah because these are people who are searching for it. So who has done a show consistently talking about this more than anybody else? Candace Owens. And so I imagine the people in these communities are going to be going online and looking more into it because they're being affected by it. And they're going to find the one show that keeps doing it. But more importantly, part of the breaking point for me was when I bumped into 3 random Gen Z guys. And they were like, Candace says Israel's trying to kill her and they killed Charlie Kirk. And I have to be like, let me ask you a bunch of questions. And then it turns out they believe a bunch of deranged nonsense. So yeah, it's absolutely reaching normies. These are not kids who watch the news. These were young guys just out on a Friday night. That's how widespread her stuff has become. And she brags about it. Let's jump to the story from Newsweek. This is the major breaking news. Charlie Kirk's accused killer, Tyler Robinson, smiles in first court appearance. They say Tyler Robinson, who previously appeared only by audio and video feed from jail, entered the courtroom wearing a dress shirt, tie, and slacks with restraints on his wrists and ankles. The AP reported that he smiled towards family members seated in the front row. His mother wiped away tears as his father and brother sat beside her. Closed-circuit video from the courtroom also shows Robinson smiling and laughing while commenting to one of his attorneys. A state judge is weighing the public's right to transparency against concerns from Robinson's defense team that intense media scrutiny could jeopardize his ability to receive a fair trial. I think that's a silly prospect. I also think there's something particularly telling in all of this. Why hasn't his parents come out and claimed he was innocent? Has that happened?
Yeah, no, they have not. They haven't said anything, and they have been speaking with him virtually. And they have, they haven't said anything publicly. I think they might be under a gag order, but even so, if it were my son and he was innocent and I was under a gag order, I would go to prison screaming for his innocence.
Didn't his father turn him in?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. So the day after Charlie was killed, the FBI released the surveillance video. There was some internal discussion in Utah as to whether that video should be released. And in fact, his mother and father were able to recognize him from the video. And the sheriff in, George County? Is that what it is? Where Robinson is from, gave a whole press conference about exactly what went down. And so the parents had recognized him. They called him. They tried to get in touch with him. They said, why don't you come home and we'll talk about it. He didn't live with them, but, come back to the childhood home. They talked about it. They ended up contacting a friend of theirs who was in law enforcement. This is all from the sheriff's press conference. They ended up contacting a family friend who was in law enforcement who helped them facilitate turning him in and the conditions by which he would go turn himself in. And among those conditions were that his parents could stay with him the whole time until the police in the jurisdiction were able to come get him. So he sat with his parents for 3 hours in that sheriff's office, and the sheriff didn't question him, didn't do anything. They were just waiting for the jurisdiction police to come down and pick him up, which they did. But yeah, the sheriff was very clear exactly what went on. And in fact, in that press conference, part of why he was giving that press conference was to explain that one of his former deputies or something who had the same name as the law enforcement friend of the family was not the guy. He was like, stop harassing this guy. This was not the guy. And yeah, that's what happened. And since then, his parents have been silent. They've been communicating with him virtually. And today it was reported that they were actually, his parents plus another relative were in the courtroom. And when and at a certain point, the judge said, we're going to close to press right now, and we'll bring press back in a little, but we're going to close right now so that we can talk about some different security matters for this case. And I think it was the prosecutors stood up and said, his family is here. Can they stay for this? And the judge said, no, they can't stay. And so there were reports on Twitter from Brian Enton, who's a reporter, and he was saying, he was in the courtroom, and he said, now his mother's out here in the hall crying, and she's just out here with the rest of us. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
Candace had stated that she thought Robinson was innocent, or something to that effect. And I think, it's been a while since you talked about it, but that his parents didn't actually turn him in, or something to that effect. She has questioned the official narrative. And there are a lot of people that believe the parents actually didn't turn him in and none of this is true. But the parents were sitting right there. Mm-hmm. They've not come out and said our child is innocent or anything like that.
No.
They have every opportunity to do that. And that's something typical that happens in defense when someone's family member is being prosecuted, but they're not.
Right.
Have we learned anything about what their defense is intending to say?
No, we have not. They have been pretty closed about it. They're really intent on keeping cameras out of the courtroom, and they're really intent on
But is he actually pleading not guilty?
Up. He hasn't entered a plea yet. Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, if it were my kid and I believed in his innocence, like, you guys are parents, you'd go to the mat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's got to be devastating for the, I have feelings of grace for everybody involved in this, and I feel badly for his parents.
Look, for anyone that's not conspiracy minded, the evidence that is publicly available, makes you say, yeah, it was probably that kid. Obviously, you have to wait for the court case, and obviously things can come out in the trial and stuff. But unless you're the kind of person that is already incredibly skeptical of the government and incredibly skeptical of the official narrative, and you don't have ulterior motives, this is kind of like, yeah, I mean, it looks like the kid did it. You know, the parents turned him in, got these emails or these text messages.
There were also Discord messages that he sent to his like gaming friends.
Yeah. There was talk about it prior to it.
And there were always there were the text messages
and
to
so
the Lance Twiggs guy.
To think that it wasn't him, or to be so strongly to believe so strongly that it wasn't him to say we have to find the real killer and we need to ask all these questions. You have to be incredibly conspiracy minded, and you have to be generally too online. To your point,
there's also kind of this thing of like Charlie was so big. Right? He was such a big thought leader in this movement. He touched everybody's lives. He held so many people together who, adored him and maybe didn't like each other. And so to think that like some twerpy, lots of things I won't say on air kid could take someone like that down. It is kind of hard to believe that just of like, the stature. It's such a, like, anyone is vulnerable to something like that.
You know what really fascinates me? The people who follow Candace are willing to believe that the French Foreign Legion and Israel are trying to kill her, but not that a crackpot leftist killed Charlie Kirk. Right? We literally watched video of Teslas burning, of people getting out of vehicles. Like there's a video of a car on a highway speeding up in front of a woman, slamming his brakes on, getting out and screaming at her because she's in a Tesla. We've seen news reports of Teslas unloaded upon. There is video of a man walking up to a Trump supporter and yelling, what did he say? Like, we got one here or something like that. And then he puts 2 bullets in the chest of Aaron Danielson.
Yeah, that's right.
And so when there's a shooting at a university and Charlie is speaking, and quick work, they find a suspect with leftist sympathies, a trans boyfriend, and these chats from leftists and trans people online saying something is going to happen to Charlie. It's like, wow, there's a preponderance of evidence here. Let's see what else they present in trial. And there are people going, nah, I can't believe that at all. But the French Foreign Legion, Emmanuel Macron, and Israelis are currently out to get Candace.
Well, people were primed from COVID to not trust government narratives on just about every level. And it kind of ties in also with a lot of distrust with the FBI right now because people don't think Kash Patel is doing the job he's supposed to be doing. So you can't have a movement that's been unbelievably critical of official narratives for such a long time and not expect something like this to eventually come to a head and go off the rails at a certain point. I think it was fodder. I think it was perfect timing.
When we had this incident Saturday morning, there were people tweeting that the shooting, before any information came out, they were saying that it was because Milo was speaking the truth and they were trying to stop us. Not a joke. They were tweeting that Milo came on the show and he was speaking the truth, and so someone was sent to stop them. It is actually really simple. Our security reported a gray sedan had been circling the building all day and they were keeping an eye out. And then a similar looking vehicle opened fire around midnight. It is scary to realize that one crazy person who has a legal weapon and knows where you are can end you, be you famous or otherwise. Why is it so hard to believe that Tyler Robinson is the person?
It's actually not. That was kind of my point earlier. It's not hard to believe. You have to be motivated to not believe it, or at least to be like, no, this is definitely not it. We need to find the real truth. You have to have a motivation. And to your point, Brett, the real damage from COVID is that people just don't believe anything. Mm-hmm. There were so many people that in the beginning of COVID, they got taken. They were like, everyone believed that COVID was going to be the end of the world, and it was going to be the new pandemic that really, killed billions and billions of people and all of this stuff. And so there's a lot of people that are just like, I'm not going to get taken again. So if the government says it, it definitely isn't true. And again, it doesn't matter that it's not actually the FBI doing the investigation, that it's the state of Utah. It doesn't matter. It's the authority and the people that are motivated to say, I don't believe the authority. No matter what they tell me, they're definitely lying. And part of this, to your point again, like you said, the problem, the it rests with the government. It's because they were actually deceptive to the American people about COVID. When people were like, oh, you can't go to you have to stand 6 feet away from people, but it's perfectly fine if you're out protesting for George Floyd. People were just like, man, this is all BS. And rightly so,
I think the bigger problem is people can't critical think. And so I wonder what this age range is of people, that were taken during COVID, tricked during COVID and now woke up and are angry. And then I wonder of the people now that are online that are so gullible in believing everything and anything and following it. Is that the younger generation? It's because of the lack of education and the ability to critical think. We've seen that happen over the last 5 years.
I don't think you're wrong, but I do honestly. I think you're right. It is the gullible people, and there's a certain amount of ego that goes along with it. If you're a little below average of intelligence, you definitely don't want to think that people are smarter than you, and you want to sit and you want to be able to say, look, I'm actually smart. I know the real stuff. And you see it all over the internet, people that are just like, you're dumb because you believe this. I'm the smart one. And you can, I see it in my mentions all the time. People, they don't just say, nah, man, that's wrong. It's, you're an idiot. I'm so much smarter than you. I'm better than you. And it's a ton of ego. It's an ego boost. It makes people feel good about themselves to say, you're dumb and I'm the one with the special knowledge, the insider knowledge, because I watch Candace Owens.
It almost makes you wish for that.
My life, like people in my life that participate in my life, that they don't quite say it that derogatory, but they say, "You'll see. You'll figure when you figure it out. Let me know when you learn, when you understand." And I'm like, "Oh, good grief!"
Well, we do have a sort of feeling in our culture that there's always. It's like I often think that America is a place that is so addicted to the concept of authenticity that we're constantly trying to peel back the onion to find the real thing. What's the real thing? What's the real thing? And maybe it's because we're a young country and we don't have the kind of ancient thing where, like, if you're doing a public works project in Greece, you start digging and then you're like, damn it, ruins. Oh, like now it's a historical site and we have to put the public thing somewhere else. You know what I mean? My uncle had a B&B in Crete and he used to make this, he and my aunt, and he's since passed. But he used to make this joke that if you find ruins in your backyard, chuck them over the fence in your neighbor's yard so that it's their problem. You don't want the ruins at your house. Because then you have to stop work or whatever. But I think we're hooked on this idea that there's always something deeper and something more nefarious going on. And, sometimes that's just not what's happening.
Let's jump to this next story and get serious with these midterms. We've got this from Mediaite. Indiana Senate votes against Trump-backed redistricting plan. Surprise, surprise. Let's pull up this tweet, actually, from Tony Cook. He says, breaking... Indiana Senate votes down redistricting bill, breaking with President Trump. And you can see the nays, 31, the yays, 19. And I have this clip here from Greg Price. He says, Indiana Senate Majority Leader Chris Garton just gave a fiery speech in favor of the 9-0 map.
Some will say these maps are political. Let me be clear. You're damn right they are. Political policy is political. Safe streets are political. Look at Indianapolis. Affordable electricity is political. A drug-free Indiana is political. Peace in the Middle East is political. I dealt with it firsthand. If drawing a map that secures 2 more seats for the Republican Party means that we continue to see overdose deaths drop by 20%, then I'll draw that map every single day of the week and twice on Sunday. If drawing a map means that we'll continue to see a 93% drop in illegal immigration, then I'll sign it with a smile on my face. We're not here to be neutral arbiters of decline. We're here to be active agents of American greatness.
Wow.
So I ask you.
I wish I had 2% of the fiery passion and charisma that man has. I'm riled up.
I want more of that.
We got this from Tyler Bowyer at Turning Point. It says Turning Point Action will be publicly endorsing opponents of the state senators who voted against the redistricting today.
Good.
They thought we were bluffing. No, we will educate voters and throw thousands of volunteers and staff at their local districts. Let's go.
Lee, you were saying?
And real quick, I just got to shout out that Chris Garton once again. Man, that guy needs to run for the Senate or something. I'd like to see that guy in federal politics. But, I respect him fighting for his state. That's beautiful.
Libby, you were saying earlier they have a supermajority in Indiana, and they still didn't make it, right?
Yeah, 19 Republicans voted against this, and they all should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. You have the entire Democratic Party working so hard to do all kinds of really stupid things, from flood our nation with illegal immigrants and trans our kids and, push DEI in schools, even though it doesn't actually do anything positive for the kids. It just makes everything worse.
It's literally, like, if people are upset about Nick Fuentes, DEI is why Nick Fuentes exists.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, like, Tina and I were just talking about this before the show. There was this educational hearing in the Kentucky State Legislature, and you have this one state senator being like, hey, we got to get rid of DEI in schools because all of our kids are failing everything and our discipline problems. And everybody else is like, but there's discrimination. And so we have to fix it. And it's like, okay, first of all, maybe there's discrimination at this point. I don't really think there is. They're all living 50 years ago in some sort of time capsule. And then the other piece of it is, just because you've identified a problem doesn't mean that the proposed solution is the one that's going to fix it.
Yep.
Like, you're idiots, like, just because you think like, oh, there's this issue, there's discrimination. Actually, what they believe is being discriminatory. They're sort of circa 1960. They don't really identify what's going on. They live in their own stupid bubbles.
You're channeling this man's energy now.
I was writing about this lady last night. Sarah Stalker from Kentucky is a complete and total moron, and she should be ashamed of herself. She went out there in the state legislature and she was like, I don't like being white all the time, and children need to know about their historical privilege. No, they don't, idiot. You don't go around telling children that there's something wrong with them because of the color of their skin. Like, that's racist. That gif of the kid, that's racist. That's racist.
Yeah.
You fool.
And I saw the Sarah Stalker clip. I actually put it in the IRL Slack.
Let's grab it.
But Cernovich was talking about it, and I
watched the whole hearing.
I tweeted about it, and I was like, "This is why so many people, so many young white men, think that Nick Fuentes is compelling, because you're telling them that they're evil by nature of their skin color, and then you have public policy that is literally oppressing them, that is ostracizing them, that you're keeping them out of colleges, they're not getting jobs, they're not going out and meeting girls. What do you think is going to happen when you tell an entire generation of young men that they are inherently evil? They're going to coalesce around the thing that makes them all the same, and that's their white skin.
The bigger picture I see here with the Indiana Senate is that people are begging Republicans to do anything.
Yeah.
And Republicans are begging them to accept them doing nothing. So the Republicans are getting very little done. And now in Indiana, where they have an opportunity, they're basically doing nothing. So if you want to get people to come out in the midterms and rally, I understand it's like the last 2 months of the race that really matter most, and right now will be forgotten within a few months. But you better do a lot more than this, because it seems like they're trying to lose.
Yeah, California. Gavin Newsom, he got his whole Prop 50 passed. They're going to eliminate Republican seats essentially in the state. You had all of these states in New England being like, we're going to redistrict too. And it's like, you're already entirely blue.
Yeah.
You like redistrict what?
40% of New England voted for Donald Trump, and those people have no representation
say
at all.
I was back visiting family outside of Boston just over Thanksgiving, and I was talking to them about it, and they were like, yeah, we don't have a vote. We're not represented at all.
I feel, I feel really bad for the worst. The team over at 270 to win. Because, they have this election tracker map for the House and the Senate and the presidency every election. And it's going to keep changing because everyone is redistricting now to try and gain advantages. So it's going to, here's the amazing thing. You can see that there's 185 deep red and there's 167 deep blue. And then there's a gradient in between. It's going to turn into a solid red and blue line.
Right.
That's the plan.
Right.
And the reason why I say I feel bad for them is because they're going to have to keep updating their code.
Some poor
being
guy.
like, yeah, it's like one IT guy, and they're like, not an IT guy, but like a software dev guy. And they're just saying, hey, look, another state's redistricting. And he's like, I'll go fix it. It's
like,
like,
I'm
we're going
not
to change everything again.
He's like, I'm
And
not
those little
checking the
squiggly
Slack.
lines.
Here's what I find really interesting, actually, is I want to pull up, let me see if I can pull up the prediction market here. Let's see. Let's grab which party will win in the House from Kalshi. So we've got this from Kalshi. Currently, the Democratic Party is at 74% favorability to win control of the House in the midterms. But as each state does or does not redistrict, it's going to cause massive swings in their prediction market. This is going to be interesting if people are accounting for it. Now, Indiana just said no. Democrats should tick slightly upward. They don't want to redistrict. I've got this here. Let me pull up. Where did I just put that thing? Here we go.
You think Jasmine Crockett will win in Texas? Win the Senate?
No way. If they
You don't think so?
Weirder things
Senate?
have happened.
Oh,
She's
Senate
running
maybe.
for Senate now instead.
Check this out. Current midterm redistricting status. California D+5, Utah D+1. You've got pending Democrat redistricting, Virginia D+2, Maryland D+1. And then you've got confirmed Republican with Texas, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, North Carolina for 11 new seats. And pending, you've got Kansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, a total of 10 possibilities. The potential total is going to be Republican plus 21 and Democrat plus 9. This is crazy. Basically, every state now has decided to, in the middle of the decade, redistrict to try and win the midterms. Civil War much?
I think it makes sense though, because you had the census, and okay, that's fine. But then Biden imported what? How many? Like 10, 20 million illegal immigrants, just let everybody in, distributed them all over the country on free flights. No one even knew that these people were showing up in their communities until they were just there, giving them all like kinds of money and free phones and whatever else, and then work authorizations after 180 days. And then also, what else did he do? He just dismissed like some 70% or something like that of asylum cases. So there's all these people who were seeking asylum, and now they're just in the country. They have no legal status. They, don't have to leave. So what are they doing there? Well, they're beefing up Democrat numbers in these districts. So it kind of makes sense for all of these places to be like, listen, you dumped heaps of new people on us who can't vote, but who we're supposed to try and represent. And now we have to kind of change things. I think that,
I agree.
Okay.
I also just think I don't want to go back to a time where we're forced to get medications, can't go out and eat unless we wear 2 masks. So I'm willing to just vote Republican, even if they are just like a turtle in the middle of the road slowing your car down.
My favorite was Alyssa Milano's crocheted mask.
Yep.
And how she had to act like she knew it didn't actually protect anything. She was like, no, I knew that it had holes in it. Yeah, I knew it.
Crocheted.
Yeah, it was crocheted. It was a selfie of her and her husband and their kids in their car, and they all had like normal masks, and she was like, mine is pretty.
Let's pull up that video we've got this year from Rep. Sarah Stalker. I have guilt every day for being white, and kids should too.
Children.
I'm going to be honest. I don't feel good about being white every day for a lot of reasons.
Retardation?
Because it's a point of privilege.
That's the biggest one.
That I get to move through the world in a way that so many of my other colleagues and friends and family members of the community don't get the privilege to do. And I'm just a female, but just a woman, just a white woman. If I was a white man, I would be functioning from a point of an even greater privilege. I think we're missing an opportunity when kids...
Oh my gosh.
When kids have a moment to reflect about
She's trying to put a
how the
thought
color
together.
of their skin does and does not allow them to move through the world. Running to them and trying to stifle that and trying to say you shouldn't feel bad. So we don't want to ever expose you to something that is going to make you have to pause and have maybe some
she
internal
stop
feelings.
whistling?
It's a missed opportunity for some really good dialogue.
Have you noticed how she keeps whistling on her S's?
Oh, I was wrong, by the way.
That's a speech impediment.
21 Republicans voted against, 19 voted for.
I thought it was more. I thought it was in that story. It shows 31 nays, 19 yays.
Okay, well, someone from my team was just like, you were wrong. So
Was it like bill to quash this or something?
I don't know.
So anyway, this video that you posted, Libby, is it slightly different?
I think it's a longer one, but I have another one here. Let me give you the.
She said more?
No. Please don't make me watch anything like that again. Listen, we cannot have someone like that and her people in charge of this country again. Absolutely. You're talking about the midterms. You're talking about redistricting. I'm sitting over here. I'm thinking about what happened in my state of Miami this past week with their mayor election.
How did that happen? A Democrat won in Miami?
Did you see the stats? You just said plus 10 or plus 5 or 10 seats in Florida. Like we have over 1 million Republican voters in our state. Miami hasn't had a Democrat in charge, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 years or something like that. It is crazy. And I'm listening to people that are having these other off elections in places around the country, and they're losing. The Republicans and the conservatives are losing everywhere. And if we don't get our act together, and if the Republicans don't get their heads out of their rear ends, and this, I get fired up and I get angry, very, very angry, because what they did to kids under the Biden administration, what they did to moms under the Biden administration, we cannot have that woman back in power.
What is this woman's name, Libby?
Sarah Stalker.
She really helps me understand bang, zoom, straight to the moon.
They're all like this, though. That lady next to her, she
think Phil
sucks
might be the only one old enough to get that.
Yeah.
Did you understand what I just said?
No.
To the moon, Alice.
Oh, to the moon, Alice. I get Alice.
It was a
Throw
joke
Alice in
implying
there.
that her incessant nagging makes me want to strike her.
Well,
it's a joke I don't really want to. It's from the Honeymooners.
I think that show was a little problematic, and there was probably a lot of domestic violence.
One of the best jokes ever was Futurama, when they go to the moon and the whalers on the moon. They're like, Earth astronauts were very fat, and he's like, one of these days, Alice, bang, zoom, straight to the moon. And no. And then Leela was like, I didn't realize astronauts are so fat. And then he goes, he's not an astronaut. He was just using space travel as a metaphor for beating his wife.
So good.
To the point about this woman, this is a woman in a position of authority. Literally saying
people voted for her.
Children should feel inherently bad about their skin color.
Wait, we should play this clip.
Within JCPS, we have a really diverse body of students.
We need a
We
de-esser.
have 145 languages that are spoken, and we have a really high percentage of kids that are on free and reduced lunch.
Bro, she's Cobra Commander.
63%. In the term DEI, inclusive, diversity, equity, inclusion, it's about including everyone. White people have never been excluded. What the efforts of DEI is trying to do within a school setting now is to pull in other students. Their stories are relative. Their culture, their history, those things are important to see reflective in the reading material. And if we don't allow those things to come into our textbooks and to come into our conversations in the classroom and in a constructive way, then we are simply just trying to whitewash things. And I find that to be incredibly problematic.
Okay, that's it. I'm Saudi Arabia, here I come. Sharia law, all of it. I'm just repeal the 19th doesn't go far enough. No. She has convinced me. Not only was she doing a vocal fry, but she was also hissing.
Yes, she's
and
awful.
you know what? By all means, everyone now pile on and talk about the things that she said, the merit of her ideas being bad, and then I'm just going to be like, but she was vocal frying. Oh.
No, she's awful. Everything about her is awful. And that little glasses next to her, she sucks too. She said stupid stuff also. They all said stupid stuff. And in fact, I was going to clip way more of this, and then I had to go do more of my job instead of pay attention to these idiot women. But they're so foolish because they act like they're saying something that is really profound, and they're saying that this woman's solution, getting rid of DEI, is bad because of all of their ideological whimsy, but it's founded in nothing.
Yeah.
And you had this woman, glasses over here, she was like, can you show me some studies, peer-reviewed studies? Or no, it wasn't her. It was a different stupid woman in this legislature.
There's more?
It's all women in this legislature. I don't know what Kentucky is doing wrong, but they're really not sending their best to run this state. They've just gone way too far in the other direction. And the couple of men that did speak up in this hearing, they were so meek about it. And I was like, fellas,
it's
grab your balls and stand up.
Look, if
listen, it's the testosterone. These guys, they need to they did a drop trow and put a red light on their balls to get a testosterone back. That's the only
They
answer.
got to do something.
I guarantee if men stood up and sounded assertive, these women would say that they are trying to intimidate them. That it would be all, I don't know what if there's hate.
But then they might,
yes.
Then they might fall in line. Then they might fall in line.
I was going to say, Phil, if these men stood up and talked back, they'd say, you. That's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but
Probably not these guys, but no.
the people like this that believe this stuff. If a man were to stand up and say no, you're wrong, and blah blah, and be in an assertive way, they would see he was being toxically masculine, and that it was an unsafe environment, and they would use all of the buzzwords, and these guys would get censured in the Kentucky State legislature or whatever.
I know what to do. I want to tell you guys about chickens, but hear me out.
Okay.
So I'm sure all of you know about the pecking order. You've heard this, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's because chickens, hens, the females, they all create a pecking order, which is they peck at each other and then eventually figure out who's the super hen, who's in charge, and then there's a hierarchy essentially. Roosters kind of have this. People believe that if you put two roosters in the same coop, they'll fight. That's not true. They stay away from each other so long as there's enough ladies to go around. So the guys will kind of just back off and they'll have their harem or whatever. Now, here's the thing. They did an experiment where they said, what happens if we take the alpha hen at the top of the pecking order, another one from a different coop, and we put them all in one coop? Will it create a new pecking order? No, they all murdered each other.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying we should take people like her and Elizabeth Warren and the rest of them and create a special legislative body for all of them so they can just scream at each other.
You could do that, but if you put AOC in there, they'll just then they would create a new pecking order and she'd be in charge.
Or you let them do that. You don't give them any actual voting power. They just get to argue amongst themselves and everybody else.
It's cathartic.
Yeah.
All right, I have a real solution, not to plug my organization, but the whole point of Moms
You
for
have a great
Liberty-
organization, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I mean, the whole point of Moms for Liberty when we started, and the reason it was titled Moms for Liberty and it was a women's-based organization is because we saw the lay of the land. And men really, especially in 21 when we launched, it was hard for them to stand up at school board meetings where you have these other women standing there for exactly what you're saying, the optics of what was going on. It was when the Biden administration was like, the Proud Boys, this, that, like, men were really being marginalized. And so in order to combat this woman, you're right. I don't know that you could go stand in there in all your manly self and combat her in a fair fashion because she'll play victim. You'll look like the big, mean, bad guy. You need another mom. You need a softer, an equivalent woman in there that can speak intelligently, that understands all the wrongs that this woman and her people are doing and can combat it.
The issue that I see is that 50 Shades of Grey sold 150 million copies, and now you've got Minotaur Milking Farm or whatever it's called.
Is that
Morning
the
Glory
handmaid
milking.
thing?
Brett, I don't know why you know the title.
We talked about it on the show.
Everybody.
I haven't read it.
I have a
swear.
great memory, and I still can't remember the title of that book.
Wait, is this that handmaid thing? Have you guys seen the handmaid?
No. The Morning Glory Milking Farm is the new bestseller that women love, which is very similar to 50 Shades of Grey. So if you're not familiar, have either of you, are you either familiar? I'd imagine you're not.
I did not read it.
Neither one of
So
those
50 Shades of Grey is a college grad woman with debt. She can't afford to pay it back.
But it's kind of like Secretary,
meets-
right? With James Spader. I did watch that.
She meets a billionaire who puts her in a slave contract where he beats her, and she loves it. And it sold 150 million copies because women loved it. And Morning Glory Milking Farm is basically the same thing. A young woman graduates college, but she can't pay off her debt. So she takes a job at a glory hole facility where minotaurs go to get milked by young women. And it's like a bestseller. It's massive, and women love it. My point is,
last time I was on, and I
the
was
things that motivate women are very different from the things that motivate men. And there's this trope, this idea, right? There's the male power fantasy. When you watch a movie like Spider-Man from the 2000s, is a really great example of the male power fantasy. And that is the Green Goblin captures a school bus full of children and Peter's love interest, Mary Jane. And he says, what'll it be, Peter? Mary Jane or suffer the children? And Spider-Man saves them both. Because that's the male power fantasy. Or like when Spider-Man's in the train, screaming and like he's being ripped apart, but he saves everyone. The female power fantasy is represented in rom-coms, where the woman trounces about doing whatever she wants and gets whatever she wants in the end. That's the trope. If you watch rom-coms, it's just she goofs off, screws around at work, or she like ditches her husband for some new guy she just met. Or there's that new show called Dying for Sex, where a woman who was with her husband for 15 years gets stage 4 cancer, a terminal diagnosis. So she says, I'm leaving you. And then she goes and bangs 200 guys.
That's nasty.
These are the shows. And I'm not saying all women are like this. I'm saying so long as you have these macro trends of we can see what it is that women will generally choose, it is absurd not to think they will generally choose similar things in politics. Now, I am not saying repeal the 19th. I don't go that far. I think there's a lot of dumb guys, too. I'm saying if we don't recognize the tendencies of female macro patterns, we are going to overlook psychopaths like this lady who burn down the system.
So what you're saying is to get rid of books like Morning Glory Milking Farm, we actually do have to cancel student debt. Because it's always about debt.
That's right.
It is.
So make a new book called something. It's something about Zoran Mamdani and he becomes president somehow. They overturn which amendment is it? No, it's actually just in the Constitution. I think it's one of the original articles. Yeah. They pass a new amendment allowing Zoran to be president. He cancels student loan debt and then has a harem.
There you go.
But all the girls of Williamsburg would love that.
I know. I'd make $1 million. I should write the book.
Yeah. They would
I should
love that.
actually. That's a really good idea, guys.
Yeah.
So all the guys out there listening to this right now, AI is your friend. You ask ChatGPT to write you an erotic novel about Zoran Mamdani canceling student debt, and then you put it on Amazon, and then make Facebook ads targeting and Instagram targeting specifically Williamsburg. You'll make $1 million overnight.
But what happens when Mamdani rejects the trans women as being part of his harem, and he's just like, no trans women in the harem?
Mamdani, there are people out there that swear up and down that Mamdani's an Islamist. He's not an Islamist. He is only using Islam as a means to avoid being accused of toxic masculinity. He is a leftist to his core. It has nothing.
And we've all seen that little head nod thing.
Yeah, has very, very little to do with his religion or with religion at all. It's all about leftism for him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got to jump to this next story, which actually I don't know that we're gonna, I guess, because it's in the news. I actually don't know how much I care, but they say Mom 58 speaks out on attack at Nick Fuentes' home as he accepts humiliating punishment for pushing her down the stairs. Controversial live streamer Nick Fuentes has been ordered to attend anger management after pepper spraying a woman and shoving her down the steps of his Chicago area home. The far-right provocateur was accused of attacking 58-year-old Marla Rose in an incident she captured on video after knocking on his door in Berwyn, Illinois on November 10th, 2024. Fuentes, 27, was arrested and charged with 1 count of misdemeanor battery 17 days later and was released the same day. Along with court-mandated anger management course, Fuentes must issue a formal apology to Rose in person, compensate her $635 for the cell phone he broke, and complete 75 hours of community service before January 23rd. It can't be for white supremacists, Rose quipped in an interview with the Daily Mail, referring to the community service. Court records show that Fuentes accepted the terms on Tuesday, 2 days before he was due to appear in court. As part of the deal, there can be no further contact between the two. And this is why I chose West Virginia. Now, I think the mistake that Nick made is as soon as she knocked on the door, he opened it and pepper sprayed her. He probably should have just not gone to the door and should have called the police.
Yes.
I do understand, however, I'm not completely faulting him because people were stalking his home and threatening to kill him. And then a strange person shows up on his front door. And I think it's fair to say he really didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because certainly if he's accepting this agreement, if he really thought that he was just or that he was doing was right, he could have pleaded not guilty. However, in West Virginia, in order for you to access the property, we are gated. And if you trespass on my property and something bad happens, I'll just say that, we don't deal with this stuff out here.
What happens?
In West Virginia?
Yeah.
Well, let me just
TOS
remove...
violations. TOS violations happen.
Is that right?
No, I can say. I'll put it like this. Let's remove everything and just go into a neutral context.
Okay.
There is let's start with New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
Or we can go Chicago. But New Jersey is a good example. One of the worst states. A man kicks your door in and screams, "I've got a gun and I'm going to kill your family." And then he turns and you are in the kitchen and he is standing there. And you have a door behind you that leads out into your alley. If you say, "I won't let you do that," and shoot him, you have now murdered someone. And that is a crime, and you'll be charged with a felony and arrested. Because you had an exit. You could have ran away.
You should not live
that's trash.
You shouldn't live in
You are
New
forced
Jersey.
to retreat from your own home in New Jersey. Next up,
That's like
we
Canada.
We have Maryland. In Maryland, let's say you and your kids are out playing. Let's say you have like 5 acres and your kids are on the front lawn playing when a man starts walking up and he's got a rifle and he screams, "I'm going to kill your family." You are required to run into your home and lock the door. And only if the person tries to break in can you respond. So
Why does the criminal have the moral high ground?
Because these states are evil.
Democrats.
Then we have West Virginia. Somebody, let's say you're on your property, it's 5 acres or whatever, and someone with a gun steps foot on your property and says, "I'm going to kill," bang, and they drop dead. The police show up and they say, "Good job." Now wait, it gets crazier than this. Let's say you're out on your 100-acre property in West Virginia and you've got a gun. It's your property. And you see a person on your property walking towards you with a rifle. Legally, you can't just kill someone because they're on your property with a weapon. It's supposed to be that you fear serious bodily harm or an imminent threat, even if they're on your property. That being said, in West Virginia, it is not incumbent upon the property owner to determine or to wait for an extreme circumstance. By simple act of a person trespassing and armed, you have a reasonable fear of death. Now, they still expect you to give a warning, but I will just say this. As it was described to me, I was told by law enforcement, please don't just shoot somebody walking around with a weapon because people hunt and sometimes they make mistakes. That being said, there have been many cases where the police have responded to a shooting and there was a dead man with a weapon and a property owner with a weapon. And he says, this guy was trespassing. He raised his weapon. I feared for my life. And the officers say, case closed. Because what can you do? You can't trespass on someone's property. You were armed. There's no witnesses. There's no statements. So all they can say is the guy feared for his life, and that's the way it works. Not in Chicago. In Chicago, they're going to be like, you're going to prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah, all those other states, they also don't seem to believe in private property. You know, they're very happy to seize what you've got and give it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's a pretty good place also, just saying.
But it's starting to turn blue.
Well, maybe
Miami,
Miami, but
wasn't it like it was
Miami's like a whole other country.
It was only 22,000 votes that mayor won.
If we want to take the conversation back to the Republican Party, like we can go back there because I have a lot of frustrations with them.
Do you think the Republicans abandoned Miami?
No, I think that they right now there's so much infighting. Even in my state of Florida, like the governor has been fighting our House of Representatives, like our House and Senate, like crazy. The things that are going on, there's like this underlying divide between people that are supporting Trump type candidates and those that are supporting DeSantis candidates. Like every state, Moms for Liberty is in 48 states, and so I'm watching this unfold state after state. South Carolina, between their Freedom Caucus and their non-Freedom Caucus Republicans, they are at war. They are divided and they are fighting, and it's seeping over into all these other conservative grassroots organizations, and it's dividing them. It's happening like at the most local levels. It's like we can't have nice things. Mm-hmm. We win. Now is the time when we should be implementing all these policies and moving forward and making gains. And we are infighting because they're so used to fighting. There's no one left to fight, and so they're turning on each other. And I'm watching it all the time, every day, and I don't want a future with that woman.
It's infuriating. Yeah.
Yep. Well, if there's one thing,
yeah, back to her. Sorry.
If there's one thing that Candace Owens is doing very well, it's helping Nick Fuentes be mainstream.
Yeah.
Because she's gone so insane, Nick has now become the voice of reason in calling her and Ian Carroll out, and it's actually really funny.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy it because Nick's segments calling out these conspiracy psychos, they're actually entertaining. They're very funny. He's a funny guy. And you were saying earlier that what's her name, Sarah Stalker?
Yeah.
That it's people like her that made someone like Nick.
Yeah.
I will tell you, partially, but the South Side of Chicago makes someone like Nick.
Sure. I mean, it's not a single issue that's made Nick into the person that he is.
I thought your point was more that they make Nick viable by creating people that want to listen to him.
Yeah,
right.
Because Nick became Nick because of his upbringing, where he's lived. All the things that have happened to Nick are what has made Nick into the person that he is. But people that haven't had the same kind of experiences in South Side of Chicago or what have you, just normal guys that listen to him, they're like, well, I've experienced these kind of these insults because I'm a white kid. I hear, and it doesn't have to be directed at them. Kids that hear that woman talk, they're going to say, oh, she's talking about me. And she's talking about my future. And They know that their friends that try to go to college, they don't get into the college they want because they're a white kid or whatever, or they don't get a job because they're a white kid and they want to hire someone that's not a white guy. These things are very, very tangible to young men, and young men already have to deal with the fact that the economy's rough. It's hard to get a start. Young people don't have anything. It's tough to start from zero. So it's already hard for them. So to have people in positions of power, and it's not just her, those same kind of ideas are repeated all throughout the Democrat Party. So you're hearing people like AOC, you're hearing people, members of Congress, people in the Senate, they say the same kind of things. So it doesn't matter that this one individual said it. This is the overall narrative that you get from the left. You even hear the late night guys making jokes about, I'm just a white guy, ha 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 ha. You see it in
White guy tacos.
Yeah, they use exactly.
Is that tuna and mayonnaise?
Yeah, you see it in what is it in comedies and sitcoms and stuff. The father's always a dopey guy and the mother knows everything. It's the way that specifically white men are treated by society now, because allegedly white men have been in positions of power. So now white men can't have nice things.
It's white men's fault.
It is.
I'm so sick of that bullshit. I'm
Well,
sorry. Yeah.
No, I mean,
I just had a son.
if white men were
Yeah,
in power
me too.
and
I
they
had a
decided
son.
to allow people to do all of these things, then who's to blame?
Yeah. Well, I think it's terrible.
A lot of the people that came up with these
I
ideas
think
were
it's-
white men. So.
Yeah. And then
At some point, some dude was like, it's a good idea. Women should vote. And here we are.
I don't think that's the root
no.
of the problem.
At some point, they said, you know what? Everyone should vote. Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah, my
you
answer
sound like
is
Jack Posobiec. That's the
yeah.
thing.
Jack's
here's the
correct.
important thing. Here's the important thing. When voting was instituted, it was, landowners, it was white men. And this means that most men weren't voting either. Only those who succeeded enough to be able to own property were able to vote. And so the issue isn't whether men or women can vote. I don't think we should repeal the 19th. I think we should introduce a new amendment that says, or we actually don't even need an amendment, just a law. Upon turning 18, you sign up for selective service, male or female, and when you do, they mail you your voter ID card. Or they mail you like your registration certificate, which with your name, which you then bring to the DMV, and you'll get like a voter stamp on your ID or whatever that you can use to vote. And if you don't have it, you can't vote. And I'm not saying people should be drafted. I'm saying you have to at least pledge that should the country fall into a time of need, you will step up in whatever means necessary, and you have a right to vote on how that happens.
There should be tests. You should have to actually pass a test to be able to vote.
I think my solution is, while difficult, yours is
text.
way too difficult.
I want it to be too difficult.
No, I'm saying you can't implement it. The idea that sign
That
up
was the Vivek
everyone,
Ramaswamy thing. Right?
Everyone already signs up for selective service, men anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's already Democrat pressure to make women do it as well. And you could very easily be like, oh, okay, so this is how you register to vote.
Yeah, but you're just going to end up with the same situation where like anyone signs up for selective service, and then they're going to go ahead and be.
You don't have to sign up for selective service. So what happens is when the liberal goes to some crackpot in the street and says, you want to sign up to vote? They'll be like, hell no, I don't want to get drafted.
No, I think it's a bad idea because the more brutish looking acting women might want to do it, and those of us that might want to have babies and be wives
still,
don't want
just
to
do the
be
math.
drafted. I'd rather be
80% of women will not sign up.
No, I want a little more Starship Troopers in my voting. You have to be a citizen, and there should be a test. There should be some kind of requirement to become a citizen. You can be a civilian and you can live in the country, and that's fine. But you have to be a citizen to vote.
Right? Don't you guys remember? Don't you remember when Democrats were pushing for women in the draft, and all of these feminists started posting videos being like, no, and like, I don't want to be a feminist anymore.
Same thing happened.
And they were like, literally, the feminism leaving my body.
The same thing happened when it came to voting. The arguments of the women that were not the non-suffragettes or whatever, the women that didn't think that women should vote, they're like, no, then we're going to have to be responsible. Then we're going to blah, blah, blah. They didn't want the responsibility.
This is my point.
So
go to an 18-year-old woman and say, would you like to vote? And they'll say yes. Just sign up for the draft. And they'll say, yeah, right.
I think that they would, because
you think women would sign up for the draft?
Because they will. Because we have a mostly right now we have a mostly volunteer army, and because most people think the American people wouldn't stand for a draft.
I will bet you $100.
I will take that bet. Yeah.
I will. So let's have Elad go to Elad's going to go to Times Square.
Okay.
And we're going to have him walk up to random men and women, and he's going to ask them to actually sign up for the draft and be like, "Will you sign up right now to be drafted?" And he's going to ask men and women, and I guarantee you, it's going to be.
There has to be there has to be some kind of benefit for it. So the vote thing.
$5.
Ask them, would they?
I'll give you $5 right now to sign up to be drafted.
No, you have to ask them, would you if it were required to sign up for selective service for the draft in order to vote, would you? And the reason I say that is because right now, people think their vote is super important. They have been conned into thinking that voting is this amazing power.
Yeah, remember Rock the Vote, Paris?
Yeah, oh God, MTV
destroyed.
destroyed.
So you actually think
ridiculous.
there'd be more women than men saying yes?
I think that you had to have most people saying, "Oh yeah, whatever," because there hasn't been a draft since Vietnam, and everybody protested against it. And no, the government's never going to draft people. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I think that people would assume that there would not be a draft. They would assume that there won't be any kind of big full scale war that would require drafting.
I think you're overestimating the intelligence of the average person.
I think no. Well, I'm not saying they're intelligent. I think that they would just say no. It's always going to be the situation that we've seen, which is people don't get
most
drafted.
people are going to say, I don't want to be drafted, even guys.
I'll bring $100 tomorrow.
I am with you that they're going to sign up, but if you're going to do that, you have to find out if they're conservative or liberal, because if you get 100 women, if you ask 190 sign up or 50 sign up, 60 sign up, and they're all liberal, like if you did that, if that got implemented, I think it would be all liberal women that would sign up. And
I don't think liberal women will sign up at all. I think there's like 8% of the population that are leftist. It's probably closer to 15 these days because it's been like 6 years since they did this poll, and they might say yes, the women in that bracket. But most women are going to go, huh? And don't you guys ever watch the Whatever podcast?
Yeah,
where it's like, what country?
It's hard to watch.
Bro,
I find the Whatever podcast as hard to watch as watching Sarah.
Brian's like, what country are you in? And they're like, Texas?
Yeah, but those women are not representative of the average woman in this country.
Thank you. Thank you.
They might be.
No.
I don't know.
I don't know anyone.
I love the one where the
I don't
chick,
know
what's her name,
anyone,
Felicity,
so
she's like,
I don't know anyone at all.
She goes, name 3 countries. And the lady's like, I don't want to do this.
She can't name countries?
She's like China, Italy, and France. And then she goes to the next woman, and the woman goes, Canada, Italy, and France. And she's like, you can't use the same ones. Pick different ones. And she's like, I don't know.
There's hundreds and hundreds of countries.
It's 189, I think.
And, 189.
Is it 189?
Yeah, and the funny thing is Somalia on the corruption index is like 179 or something. It's like a corruption.
Are we going to go there now?
What was it? Someone said that they were going to start actually investigating Ilhan Omar about whether she.
Yeah, Trump has been talking about it.
No, so she did. Like there was a report out in the Daily Mail that said she did marry her brother. And that she divorced her husband, married her brother. No. She married her brother in a Christian ceremony because nobody thinks that counts in the Muslim community. So nobody would know. So they just did that. And it wasn't that she married him for citizenship reasons. She married him so that he could get student loans. So it was corruption and fraud. It was just fraud. It was government loophole. Oh, that government money must be for me. If we just lie, we can have it.
I really hope that they do investigate and find something, and then I would love to see her lose her seat over this. Go to jail.
What do you mean? Just get sent back to Somalia?
That'd be fine.
I would love that.
She would get her citizenship voided because the law is that if you commit immigration fraud, they can remove you. You can be denaturalized.
And that seems pretty fraudulent. Marrying your brother in a fake ceremony so that you can get access to government services. And then advocate for the government to forgive those loans. So now you're just stealing. The hell's that?
Love it.
Yeah, but she's trying to stop Morning Glory Milking Farm.
we got to talk about this, and I'm just going to default to Brett because I have no idea what's going on. But this is a huge story.
This is a Kellen story.
This is story. This you don't know anybody here sports. This is apparently a really crazy story. It's blowing up.
I read the story.
Fired Michigan coach Sharon Moore was suicidal after cops were called to his executive assistant's apartment. So my understanding is that he was cheating, is like an affair.
Yeah,
and then
with his exec assist.
Yeah.
apparently. Yeah.
And then
and
let me
he was
just
stalking her.
This isn't
Held a
sports
knife to his
story.
own-
This is
Held a knife to his own throat.
this is like the real true crime drama
kids.
stuff.
Broke into
Married
somebody
10
else's
years.
house to threaten his
Okay,
own
let me
life.
read it. Let me read it. Jerome Moore, one of the biggest names in college football,
try that
threw
in
away
New
his
Jersey.
$30 million coaching career and his freedom after getting caught having an affair with a subordinate and then was arrested in the aftermath. Within the span of a few hours on Wednesday, Moore, 39, was fired as the University of Michigan's head football coach and arrested on suspicion of assaulting a woman at the home of Paige Shiver, 32, his executive assistant. Yo, this is crazy. The shocking news came just days after Moore had spoken with reporters as the number 18 ranked Wolverines began to prepare for the Citrus Bowl later this month, and it caught the college football world by surprise. Moore was booked into the Washtenaw County Jail Wednesday after a female caller reported he was armed with a knife and had been stalking her for months, according to police dispatcher audio obtained by the Post. Male at the location is attacking her, said he's been stalking her for months. A male voice in the recording can be heard saying in the audio, crazy. The audio also indicated Moore had threatened to harm himself, kill himself, during the alleged exchange, after which he fled on foot and was arrested. The dispatcher said the caller reported Moore had brandished a knife before throwing down the weapon and running away. It's going to be at the Well Church, 211 Willis Road, suicidal, driving a black Chevy Tahoe blacked out. The call came from Shiver's Ann Arbor address, according to public records, though it was not immediately clear if she was the victim. So what is this like? What?
Crazy. Crazy. The idea that he held a knife to his own throat, I heard, that's crazy.
$30 million
It's really nuts.
career just down the
Down the
drain.
tube.
That's crazy.
Over what? Like lust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Lust
Story
is
as
a
old as
takedown
time.
thing. Yeah, it sure is. That's a takedown thing for sure.
So this story is it's blowing up to the point where even someone who knows nothing about college football, it's on my radar and I'm seeing people talking about it.
Betting sites are getting in on this.
They are getting in on it.
I'm sure they are.
Oh yeah, I think it's actually because this is a high profile like drama, true crime affair. It's very salacious, and I'm totally at a loss for anything about college football or whatever. But
We need Chuck in here.
yeah, where is he? Is he here?
Is he
He can
here?
come and explain it to us. Callan's here. Callan can come and run over here and tell us what's going on. UM head football coach Sharon Moore has been terminated. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy. So is that really all he's in trouble for? Like he got caught having an affair, but like was the woman that he was having an affair with like breaking up with him?
So that's his executive assistant. It's crazy to me that $30 million and you throw it away over something like this. It is kind of, like I said, it is a tale as old as time that men in positions of power, they just have a hard time saying no to things like this.
Yeah.
Like when Tiger Woods kept getting in trouble for banging all those women.
Yeah.
And then South Park made that episode where they were like, what is causing this? Wealthy, successful men to want to have sex with so many different women. Yeah.
Shocker.
Can't
Shocker.
quite figure it out. So apparently, let's see. What is this? Dispatch audio. Local reports suggest police were called after concerns about his behavior. He threatened to kill himself, but I don't understand why.
Why did he threaten to kill himself?
Yeah.
He got busted. I think.
I'd like to know
Busted
the
doing what?
timeline. I'd like to know
Stalking
the
somebody?
timeline like of this. Is this already after he lost his contract? He feels like he's got nothing left to lose. I'm sure he's got some money in the bank anyways, but
Well,
He
'cause
had
he was
$30
having an
million.
affair.
How like a $30 million contract? How many years was that for?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
People get paid too much for this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he was cheating on he was having an affair, so he was cheating on his existing girlfriend, and the whole like he had a mental breakdown and was
Well, I
gonna.
think he had a wife and kids.
Oh well, there you go,
Right?
even worse. So yeah, he had a mental breakdown. He's like, I'll kill myself because he's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. Well, it's kind of messed up, but maybe this will be a distraction for the people. I was saying for a while, I said this recently, when I was younger, all anybody cared about was sports. And I was kind of pissed because all of this big political stuff was happening. And I thought, why can't people just care about the important things that are going on? Why don't they care? Now I understand. Now I'm begging these people involved in politics to just go away and shut up because they have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah. So it's, how do we bring back sports?
I mean, sports are still very, very popular, despite what people say. There's a reason
Hobby
why
horsing?
You and I are the only ones who have probably seen those videos. If you're on here, guys, go look for the hobby
You know
horsing.
what hobby horsing
videos.
is? Libby?
Isn't that where you pretend to be riding a horse, but you just have a stick with a fake horse head
Just a
on it?
broomstick with a.
Do you know that they also do like hobby dog now?
No.
Yes, with a leash.
This
it's
is
like got a
because-
shape at the end, and they
Okay.
they like walk the dog, and then they pause and they pretend to pet it.
We
Here you
stopped
go.
throwing kids in lockers, and ever since then, it's been downhill.
Yes.
Oh, competitive
Did you know
hobby
there's
horse.
a competitive sport of hobby horse riding? We've shown some video over the past couple of years. This is growing in popularity. Just this past June, Finland hosted its annual hobby horse championships.
all leads to
2,000
furry.
people
I wanna
were
put these people
from
in prison.
21 different countries, including
It's the stupidest.
right
They're
here in
crying.
Chicago,
Oh my
18-year-old
goodness.
Micah Zanstra, who also
End
just
it.
organized
Bring the
a
meteor.
first of its
You gotta
kind
jump over.
hobby
You know what my
horse riding
favorite- you know my favorite thing, though, is the hobby
championship
horse
in the United
dressage.
States, and she's
No.
only 18.
They go like
And
this.
look at
They
you
go like
right
this.
No, they
there.
don't.
I'm not kidding.
This is in.
How did you get started in this?
You know, I saw somebody at another horse event
Did they
with
name 'em?
a hobby horse, and I've always loved
Oh,
horses,
boy.
and I've ridden real horses, but I've never been able to have a horse of my own.
That's
because I
what
live
it
right
is.
in
It's
the
wealth
city.
inequality.
So I saw somebody with
Because
a
they can't
real
afford
hobby
it.
horse, and I asked them
Yeah,
where they
that's
got
true.
it. They said that they made it, and that's kind of how I started.
The New England
And so you
Patriots are
make
11
these,
and
you
2.
I just kind of ride in the parks. I live in a condo, so it's kind of hard to ride in the condo. So I will take my
Okay, this is really
I'd
sad.
say. You have to
Look
have
at
really
this.
high steps. It's
They're like- I
very
wanna see more
difficult,
videos of it.
No.
and
I wanna
you do
see
a
more hobby
4-minute,
horsing.
I feel like you're punishing me tonight. Hey, I looked up.
we go.
I looked up a little more story on your coach here. It's.
Oh, yeah?
You wanted to know how that went?
I want to watch hobby horsing.
No.
at this.
No. The scandal began to spiral out of control. Look at this guy. Oh my gosh, he doesn't.
Go on.
He doesn't want to.
He
He
is
was
so
told to distance himself
gay
from
and
her
dumb.
because there was an investigation because she got a raise from $45,000 to $90,000 without a change in job title. He gave her a raise, and so there was an investigation. They said distance yourself, and then he fired her. So she got mad and she went down and she told them we've been having an affair and all the things, and that's when it spiraled.
How can you get a $30 million contract and not see that coming when things go wrong? Is it just ego?
Yeah, of course it is.
I think these people should be arrested.
The hobby horse people.
I think we need to
Yeah.
invade Germany.
The
because
parents
of
should
this.
be arrested.
I think this is as good a reason as any to invade Germany, frankly.
Look at this.
Oh my gosh! Tell me we're not doing that in the United States.
Oh,
Please.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh,
That
yeah.
says Germany. That said Deutschland or something up there. I saw.
Oh my goodness.
And
This is-
and
Did
you
see
notice
that lady was like 50.
you notice
What the hell?
and it's almost all women and people are trying to convince me that we okay.
no, it's not. Oh,
I said
there's-
almost all women because I'm well aware of this young
And they
German
just have
guy.
this stick
You know-
between their legs.
It looks ridiculous.
You know that kid's
It
name's
looks
Tyler.
sexual, is what it looks like. It looks
No, these little toys.
a little weird.
These okay. You know, here's the pitch. If you hobby horse, you can't vote. Okay,
That's okay.
you
All
are
right.
allowed.
I'm
You
okay
don't-
with
you
that
can't
one.
vote.
I think we're all on
I
board
think
with that
we
one.
might be able to take a vote here, and it might be unanimous.
There was a viral video of this woman, and she's like panting and on the ground, hyperventilating, like, and she's drenched in sweat, and she was like, to everybody who says hobby horsing isn't a real sport.
Those are just made to make you angry. Like I see those sometimes. It's like I get off X because it pisses me off, and then I go on Instagram and that's there, and I'm just like, everything's out to get me, bro.
Did we show this to Hotep?
Maybe like ages ago.
Man.
No, he was here recently.
Oh, maybe.
And I could have sworn he was like, nah, that ain't real.
It's real.
And he was like, y'all trolling.
See, but this is one of those things where, despite what Phil said earlier, they're gonna look and be like, white people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. They're going to say
They
that.
are all white.
But yeah, I mean, look, I can deal with that a whole lot more than like white men are evil.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be like white people, that's fine. Because most likely only white people are going to come up with this kind of BS.
Yo, check this out.
Well, no. One day they're
Meet
going to be
the
talking about equity in hobby horsing.
Meet the LeBron James of hobby horsing.
Mute the song. Huge copyright.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is so sad.
What?
hate it.
I don't understand what they're like impressed by.
You know what they're saying, right? They're like, people run track. What's the difference?
What are they impressed by?
Like,
She was pulling the stick up.
Yeah.
So it's form.
I can't.
I really like when they're
Got
like
a
this.
little
you know what I
knob
mean?
on the
I'm
end.
not.
That's
I'm
my
done.
favorite.
I can't watch it anymore. I will look this way.
It's sort of like it's
done.
It's
It
very.
is
Hobby
not.
horsing.
No.
It's a shame, really.
Dressage.
Are you still?
I mean, these are good jumps. I'm impressed. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
Is that what they're getting
Yo,
scored
that's
on?
like 4
Hey,
feet or
How
something.
do they
No, that's
score
like
these?
5 feet.
What are they scored on?
IQ. And it starts at 50. So after you do the jump, you got to figure out which block goes in which shaped hole, and then they assess your score. The assumption is all of them are developmentally disabled.
Well, do you think they fall sometimes and break the horse and they get...
Well, that's why the stick isn't like a full on,
Yeah.
like
There's
full
probably
broomstick or
like
whatever.
I swear there's probably a chat being like, "Oh, hobby horse, stop making fun of me." You know, like,
Well, that's because you're not allowed to not like anything now.
You know what'd be
You're not
really
allowed
funny?
to make fun of anything.
we like lose 3,000 paying members, and they were like, "We're all hobby horsers and whatever," and you're diminishing us.
I think this is honestly like the precursor to furries.
I was gonna say it's like on the road to furries. This is a better alternative. At least they're getting some physical activity.
I think this is the internet. So what I think happens is if you go back far enough in time, people are buying kids these things, and the 5-year-old pretends like he's on a horse, and then they forget about it. Some of these kids really loved running around and pretending like they're riding a horse. However, as you get older, no one's really walking around with these things. Nobody's meeting up for it. It's not socially acceptable. It falls away. Then the internet comes. Someone creates a forum talking about how they love hobby horses.
And then you feel like you're part of it. Yeah.
Then people start to trickle into this community, and it allows them to coalesce. What would normally be cast into the shadows is now out in the open for all to see.
See, I want to find like the Republican who gets shunned by this community because it's all leftists. Like, there's got to be at least one, right?
There might be. I remember when I was in 3rd grade and I didn't have any friends, and Mindy and Sarah used to play horses, and they would like put their hands on the ground and then stand on their legs so that their legs were like straight, and they would run around pretending to be horses, and they were like, "Do you want to play horses with us?" And I was like, "Okay." And I didn't have any friends, right? And so I played horses with them one day, and I was like, it's better not having friends. I'm never doing that again.
So Kellen said that ESPN, one of their top people, is claiming it's a racism or something. And this
Because he
story
was
about
fired?
Sharon Moore, the OnlyFans model claims ex-Michigan football coach Sharon Moore slid into her DMs as it's revealed he attended a Diddy party. Now I'm kind of understanding why this story is a lot bigger. See, I don't pay attention to college sports or anything like that. I might, regular football I passively will hear about and be like, oh, okay, maybe if it's like something local. And then the Super Bowl is always fun. But Diddy party I recognize, and OnlyFans and white supremacy and all those things. So now I can see this is sort of hitting all the marks in the culture war. And now I'm, okay, all right, I get it. Basically, it's a choose your own adventure of how to be offended.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is one of those stories, unfortunately. It's going to disappear now. It doesn't feel like it's all that big to me.
It's actually, I think, one of the biggest stories on the
I was saying, like, stuff like this come and they go. Like, I feel like this will come and go.
This story had big traffic for everybody today.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I brought it up is because I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, the story's massive. It was big. Like, I'm not a sports guy, and it was big enough to have people asking me about it.
I thought that was going to be what was true with like the gambling, the athletes getting caught gambling. Like, you think that would be, because I feel like that has bigger implications for the country. Like, if you want to talk about the idea of elections, we need to know that elections are fair. Well, if you want to talk about all of the people who are into politics, who, they've sublimated their team sport mentality that came from watching athletics. If you can't even believe that the sports you're watching aren't being rigged in some way, then that has massive implications for the country.
Let me pull up this story and tell you about fake news. Let me explain to y'all fake news. This is Fox News. Trump says he will think about eliminating tax on gambling winnings. Fake news, right? Here's the fake news. I say it again. A bunch of news outlets are reporting that Donald Trump wants to eliminate taxes on gambling winnings, that he's thinking about it. What actually happened? A random reporter asked him, and he was like, I don't know. No one's talked about it. We'll see, I guess. And then they reported Trump is going to think about eliminating tax on gambling winnings. What he said was, we got no tax on tips, got no tax on overtime. Maybe there'll be no tax on gambling. But they asked him. He didn't come to them and said, you know what I'm thinking about? Eliminating the tax on gambling winnings.
This is part of that whole thing where journalists, instead of trying to report news, are always trying to make news.
And they did. And now everyone's going, he's going to, I doubt he will.
Yeah, I liked the thing better when he said eliminate income tax.
Yeah.
I was like, I am super into that one. That would be awesome.
Look at this. This is really funny. When asked on Air Force One if he would potentially nix the tax on gambling, he said, "We have no tax on tips. We have no tax on Social Security. We got no tax on overtime. No tax on gambling winnings. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that." And now they're all reporting that he's thinking about it. It's just this is how fake news operates.
It's clickbait. It's a good headline.
It'd be nice if he was thinking about it.
All that really matters is the headline.
But why? I mean,
Trump gamble? He gambler?
Because it makes him look bad.
I bet he puts money on golf now and then,
Think so?
Why not?
Like when he's playing?
Yeah, 50
Always
bucks.
bets on himself?
Why not?
And then as he does, he gives him a stern look.
Yeah.
And then he just wins every time.
Pete Rose always bet on himself.
Remember when he posted how he got a hole in one? This
Yeah.
is like in his first term.
Yeah.
Just like completely irrelevant to anything. He was like, I just want to let everybody know I'm the president. I got a hole in one. And it's like,
It
okay.
is pretty
thank-
baller.
Of course it is.
I gotta say, I know it's goofy, but I like seeing the president out there golfing. You know, I appreciate that he takes the exercise time and that he's passionate about something, that he's got this as a hobby. I think it's good. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's cool that his granddaughter is like awesome at golf. Kai Trump.
I always win Topgolf.
I love Top Golf.
I always win.
I think they just sold it.
Strategy.
Galloway owned it, and I think
Strategy.
they sold it.
So,
See,
to who?
here's the secret.
I don't know.
Probably private equity.
I'm gonna teach you guys how to win at Topgolf every time. So here's what happens every time we go. Everybody always gets the ball and they whack it as hard as they can, and it flies off in the distance and just lands in a random spot, and they get no points. They get like 2,000 points.
You got to aim for the thingies.
Well, if you're good enough, you know what I do? I aim for the one right in front,
That little red one.
the little red one, because I can't swing a club for the life of me, and I get it in every time. And you don't get that many points, but you're okay. And with people aiming far down, they keep missing. But here's the trick: on the second round, the bonuses appear exactly where your shots were going, and then you get like 40,000 points for every red because you're bouncing in the purples bonuses. So I end up with like 200K points, and everyone else has got like 120, and that's the secret. Now y'all can win at Topgolf.
Awesome.
And then you can post on Truth about how good at golf you are.
I've gotten stronger over the past year because I started lifting weights like a year ago.
Yeah.
And so now I can hit the yellows. It's
Oh, the yellow
exciting.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so good about myself, so I'm not going to let you make me
Topgolf
feel
is
bad
pretty
about
awesome,
it.
though.
Yeah.
I like Topgolf.
I think it's really fun.
You get French fries.
They bring you a little snack,
Yeah.
little snacks.
Chilling.
They have these little donut holes, and they bring you like this weird syringe with chocolate in it, and you like squirt them into the donut holes. It's weird. Like you could just give me donut holes with chocolate inside, but no, you're making
could
me
just-
do this thing.
You can put it on top.
It's weird. Is that really? I thought you.
You
Because
control
when you're
your
like
chocolate intake.
right, because when you make cupcakes and you make like cupcakes with cream inside, you have to like jam it in there and squirt the filling on the inside of the cupcakes before you frost.
I don't get it. I don't. Why?
You don't like a cream filled cupcake?
Just put it on
You
top.
don't like
just whatever.
Hostess? You don't like Hostess? What's the matter with
Oh,
you?
Hostess
You
is gross. Are you
un-American?
serious?
Come on. Tasty Cake does the same thing.
It's all nasty.
They got the little stuff inside. I know.
RFK
Doesn't-
is giving
doesn't
you a
all that
side
stuff
eye
have-
right now?
It's
yeah.
what?
Yeah. Exactly.
RFK is giving you a side eye right now.
Oh, whatever.
Doesn't all that stuff have propylene glycol in it?
I don't eat it. I just make cupcakes at home, and that's how I know you have to like squirt the cream on the inside.
I'm not a big cake fan.
I like cake.
No.
Yeah. I like
Oh, I
cake.
don't
I
care
like
for cake.
cookies. I like all
Yeah.
the
See.
things.
He knows what's up.
Pie.
All the things.
Yes.
Pie.
Pie is great too. I mean, what? We have to only like one kind of dessert? What the hell?
Like, wait a minute. Well, why are we choosing?
What's going on? Have it all.
No, I don't want to eat cake.
No.
Not interested.
Just pie.
Yeah, just pie.
It's just spongy weirdness. Pie has like fruit. It
only-
has goodness.
The only
it has
time
maybe
cake is
nuts
good is
on
if you have
it.
a
Yeah.
real
It's
cream
Good,
cheese
crusty flake. Like you got all these different textures. It's pie's good.
And then
I make
you
this great.
you-
I make this great strawberry cake with strawberry buttercream. It's forking delicious.
Our female viewership is skyrocketing right now.
Really?
It's like the numbers. I'm kidding. The numbers are just going up. They're like, tell me more about the pastries you are baking.
Listen,
I will.
I'm happy to. When I was pregnant, I decided I wanted to be one of those moms that bakes, you know, and so I learned how to bake. And now I make a real nice cake. I make a whole bunch of good stuff. I can make one of each thing. I can't make two different kinds of cakes. I can make one kind of cake.
My wife loves to bake.
Yeah,
More than
see,
anything.
she knows.
Have you ever made a cronut?
No, I can't do that.
This whole
never had one.
last couple of months.
I've
like, I
always
was,
wanted to eat one, but I've never
saying
made
to I was saying to my wife, I was like, I want to lose some weight, and she's like, I baked these brownies,
That's a good way.
and I'm like, you're sabotaging me, bro.
I just bought
Bro? Did you
I
call your
just-
wife bro?
Sometimes.
I just bought cocoa yesterday at the grocery store so I could make brownies because my kid likes brownies and I don't like to buy the box, you know? So anyway,
Brownies are great.
Box
Merry
brownies
Christmas
are the
brownies
worst.
are coming.
I'm doing the Christmas cookies on Saturday. Oh, it's dozens and dozens and dozens
Love
all
it.
day long. It's
It's
great.
just sugar cookies with like icing on them.
No, I actually don't make any sugar cookies. I make anise cookies. That's the Italian tradition. Oh, they're
I hate
so
anise.
good.
Anise is
Italian
the
tricolor
worst.
cookies, the flag cookies with the 3 colors with chocolate around them.
Actually, my goal in life is I'm doing all of this because I do intend to run for office at some point. And when I become president,
Is that news? Are we breaking news?
oh yes. So at some point, I will use all power I've acquired to run for office. And once president, I will usurp constitutional authority.
I like that you're just
So
running
that-
for president. You're just
Well, of course, because first I have to be president, then I can usurp all constitutional authority and make myself supreme chancellor, so that I can make anise, fennel, cilantro, caraway,
All
of my-
yes.
all my
Kill all
favorites.
illegal.
burn it.
Get
burn it
out.
all.
All my favorite.
Gone.
Burn it all. Terrible.
Get
That's
outta
right.
here.
I'm
Libby's
with
gonna
you on
lead the
that.
army.
Yes.
She's gonna be wearing like.
I'm going to get everyone to sign up for the draft based on that.
Is there anyone with me that loves those things?
I don't like
Cilantro's terrible.
possession
It's
of
just me.
possession of cilantro is a capital offense.
I agree.
Capital offense.
I guess I don't
even
belong
need like
here.
search and seizure laws don't even apply if they have even
Nope.
a whiff of it. They're like
There's dogs.
open the trunk.
They open it and there's like a bunch of pot, and I'm like, nah, it's fine. You're free to go. And then one guy's eating a taco. Get him! The dogs just jump on him.
I was driving through Southern California last week, and we were driving. It was dark, and it just reeked of weed. And then when we saw it in daylight the next day, it was like, because I was, this is going to sound like I'm bragging, so I'm just going to go for it. I was with Pete Hegseth's motorcade, we were shutting down the 405 and going to check out autonomous weapons factories and
Nice.
the Reagan Library, the Reagan National Defense Forum, and it was kind of cool. But anyway, then in daylight, it was just fields of weed. It was like more weed than you could conceive of at once.
How California.
It was so California.
You know, I'm going to send, when I'm chancellor, there's going to be dudes in suits with flamethrowers, and they're going to walk through those fields with the flamethrowers off until they get to the cilantro, and then
just torch the cilantro.
Then you're going to create a black market for cilantro that's going to
Yep.
just.
And if you're going to ban anise, I can't vote for you. So
Anise
there's
is
that.
terrible.
you don't, it doesn't, no, you don't get to vote. I'm going to be supreme chancellor, right?
You said president first, and then you were going to usurp
right. Well,
the power. And
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how great cilantro is. And I'm going to be like, I will be the president. And then as soon as people vote for me, I'm going to be like, haha, and I'll take the mask off. And then I'm going to ban, anise is out. Have you ever had a Rocky?
No, what is that?
Rocky? You mean like the Cretan, from Crete? There's this like Crete moonshine called Rocky.
I think it's Turkish.
Whatever it is, it's nasty.
It's a drink?
It sort of tastes like black licorice. Also, it burns.
Yep.
Yum.
I can't believe you don't know about it because you'll definitely want one. And
like
I was in Turkey. So a Rocky is it's an alcoholic beverage made from twice distilled grape pumice and flavored with aniseed.
I don't drink. I'll
Good.
never
You'll
get
never
to
have
try it.
a Rocky.
Never
And
get to
so
try it.
I was in Turkey, and I was with the guys from Vice. And they were like, you got to have a Rocky, Tim, while you're in Turkey. And I was like, what is it? And they were like, it's like licorice. And I said, that's disgusting.
Terrible.
It's anise, and I will destroy it. And they're like, no, you have to drink it. And it's very much like when the guys who own the company are saying, drink it. You're like, all right, I'll drink it. It is disgusting.
They made me drink it too. My uncle and my aunt, they were like, you have to have this in Crete. And I did not like it.
I bet it's delicious.
All right. We're gonna
Listen.
We're going to go to your Rumble rants and super chats, my friends. So smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. We're going to be over at rumble.com/Timcast IRL at 10 for the uncensored portion of the show. But for now, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Frontline 21. All right, man, let's get real for a second. There's lots of noise about out there about masculinity. You've got some screaming. Maybe I should deepen my voice for this. You've got some screaming that masculinity is toxic. And the other side is pushing a version of manhood that's all about ego, domination, and pride. Both of those are wrong. That's not strength. That's confusion. Frontline 21 is a 21-day challenge for men designed to help guys rebuild discipline, leadership, and integrity in a world that's trying to tear those things down. It's not therapy. It's not politics. It's personal responsibility. Society's tried to label all strength as toxic, and the result is a generation of disconnected, directionless men. Frontline 21 was built to remind men that real masculinity isn't toxic, it's necessary. The 21-day format works because it's simple and measurable. No lectures, no endless content, just real action one step every day. It builds confidence through consistency. Men start seeing results quickly, and it's free. anyone can start right now at frontline21.com. Go to frontline21.com, download your free field guide, and join thousands of men taking the 21-day challenge. And now let's get back to your Rumble rants and Super Chats as my voice just naturally squeaks a little bit higher.
We should pitch shift your voice and just put it back to normal when you were doing that promo.
I don't talk like this. You need to be a man. All right. Shane H. Wilder says, hey, Tim, is the new Christmas song also going to be on Spotify or direct MP3/FLAC download for those of us who don't use Apple Music? I'm going to go ahead and assume the answer is yes. Carter is, he would know better than I, but it should be on every platform. And this is Silent Night, new song, Trash House Records. And did he put it up yet?
Yeah. What's up now?
It's what? TrashHouseChristmas.com. Let me see if I can pull that up.
I saw it on Instagram.
Nope. Did I spell it wrong?
Carter mentioned it earlier on.
Maybe it's, wait. Oh, there we go. We got it. Alex Bianca Silent Night single is available. If you go to the website, it's on Apple Music. I think you can just go to any platform and probably find this and check it out. We're working with new artists with Trash House Records, our record label. Very excited. But let's grab your rants and chats. We'll continue. James Smith Politics says, Erika and TPUSA should file a defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens. I'm willing to bet that will happen. I think it will happen. Yeah. Black Hills Ranch says, I'm not mad at Tim. I'm a supporter, just a simple rancher. Isaiah 118, come now. Let us reason together, says the Lord. With that, I accept your debate challenge. How would you like to proceed? Are you saying my debate about the limits of God? I don't know how I would ever have that debate. We did a debate on this a couple times already. And the issue is that's literally just, what do you believe? And so if you believe that God is the Logos, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm saying I don't believe it. The question is, it's not so much a debate, but you trying to convince me that I am wrong, but I don't think you can. I don't think I can convince you you are wrong either, because we both just simply believe different things about God.
But usually in those debates, it's not about convincing you, right? It's about convincing somebody who might be watching, perhaps.
Indeed. You ever see that? You ever see that movie? It's Thank You for Smoking.
Yeah.
That really great scene where it's what's his face? Who's the actor? Aaron Eckhart. And he's with his son, and he's like, because he's a smoking PR guy or whatever, and then he's teaching his kid how to win a debate, and he says, let's say we're debating ice cream, and you love chocolate and I love vanilla. If someone asks you, you like chocolate, what do you say? And he says, chocolate is the best. And then he responds with, oh, so you think chocolate is the end all be all, chocolate's the best? And he goes, yes, I do. And he says, then he goes, well, I believe in freedom, in liberty, and I think we should have choices. And I think if people want vanilla or chocolate, and then the kid goes, but that's not what we're talking about. And he goes, no, it's what I'm talking about. And then the kid's like, but you didn't argue that vanilla was better. And he's like, I don't have to. All I have to do is argue that you are wrong. And then the kid says, but that's not convincing me. And he goes, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm trying to convince them. Yeah, that's how you, thank you. And then the next scene is they're both eating vanilla ice cream. That's a great movie. All right, let's see. Brett Zeppelin says, Brett Dassifik is way sexier than Brett Cooper. I'm a chick. It's okay, Brett. Actually, I think I can pull this up. It's really funny. I was losing it this morning because of how funny it was. Let me see if, yeah, here we go. I think I can get it. Let's see. I was actually thinking about doing a video for my @TimPool channel, but I didn't have time. I wrote, list the staff of Timcast. It says, Timcast, founded and operated by Tim Pool, is a media company focused on podcasts like Timcast IRL, the Coach World podcast, based on available sources. The core staff includes hosts, producers, and key operational roles. Note that Timcast is a small, independent operation, so the team is not exhaustive and may evolve. Here's a compiled list of confirmed staff members. Tim Pool, founder, CEO, and host. Phil McGraw, host, co-host, regular. Ian Crossland, Brett Cooper, Pop Culture Crisis.
I'll take it.
Raymond G. Stanley Jr., Alad Eliyahu, Serge Dupria, Serge.com, Cassandra Fairbanks, Charles, last name not specified.
See, but that's real power. If they don't know your last name, they can't get to you.
Yep. And then I said, wow, Dr. Phil is on Timcast. No, the famous Dr. Phil McGraw isn't a regular on Timcast, though he's been referenced in episodes, like when Tim Pool's team discussed Dr. Phil calling out child trafficking issues to border policy that say he does have a co-host named Phil, who's appeared frequently on Timcast IRL, along with Tim Pool, Ian Crossland, and others. He's been in episodes, blah, blah, blah. I said Dr. Phil is Phil McGraw. Yes, that's correct. Dr. Phil is indeed Philip Calvin McGraw. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, and Phil McGraw is on Timcast. No, Phil McGraw is not a host, co-host.
Yeah.
And then I said, Brett Cooper is on Timcast. That's amazing. Yes, Brett Cooper is indeed a regular co-host on Timcast IRL, and it's been an awesome addition to the lineup. She's popped up on episodes throughout 2025, bringing her sharp takes on pop culture, Gen Z trends, and conservative commentary to the mix alongside Tim Pool, Phil, and others like Raymond or Ian.
It's the pop comment section
listen,
culture crisis.
Listen to this. For instance, in a recent December 2025 episode, Tim, Phil, Brett, and Raymond teamed up with guest Naomi Siped to break down the J6 pipe bomber arrest, why young folks are ditching America for socialism vibes, and even the wild story of people trolling Tim Walz's house. Another one from late 2025 had her joining Tim, Phil, and Tate with the Raw Egg Nationalist at BabyGravy9 to host viral drunk raccoon memes, TPUSA drama with Candace Owens, and some hilarious, unhinged WNBA betting scandals. She's not full-time staff. And I said, so cool she can be in West Virginia every night while living in Nashville.
I don't know what's better. Does that mean that I'm a handsome woman or that I look young for my age?
I said, she must have a private jet for that. Pop Culture Crisis also filmed in West Virginia. Hot, no private jet needed. and then it said
teleport.
For her Timcast IRL spots, it's 100% remote. It said, these days, the Brett Cooper Show launched independently after leaving the Daily Wire's comment section. It said that she was on the show, her old gig from 21 to 24, co-hosted with Mary Morgan under Timcast Media, was actually filmed in Frederick, Maryland, specifically the Castle. This is crazy
History
wrong.
is cooked, man. People are going to read this stuff and think all of it's true.
I wrote this. Oh, yeah, I remember that. It was after she and Mary got into that fight over who got to feed the chickens in Chicken City. Haha, okay, see what you're doing here, blah, blah. You get the point. Dude, Grok would not let it go. Yeah. The whole way, it's saying, yes, Brett Cooper is on Timcast IRL. And then even when I said we don't, it's like, how does she get here? It's like she does remote. I said, Timcast has never had remote guests. And it's like, you're right. I'm like, then how did she get here? And it's like, it's easy because it's only twice a week. Like, it's just making things up.
Can we
Always
talk
accurate.
about how AI is being introduced into the public education system at a dramatic pace? And this, I mean, look at this. You're an adult. You're trying to fight with it. You're not getting accurate information. Imagine this being introduced to children.
It is. And teachers are creating assignments with ChatGPT.
Yep.
And then the students are doing the assignment with ChatGPT. And then the teachers are grading the assignment with ChatGPT.
Well,
so basically, both are just sitting there staring at the wall, drooling like zombies.
My son's English teacher recently had them do an essay, and he required that it be turned in, written on paper.
Thank you, teacher. Like I
have a solution for that.
What?
So how old is your son?
16.
Okay, I don't know if you want to say. I was going to, but okay. So if you're listening, write the report through ChatGPT, and then go to Home Depot and go trabajo, and then hold it up.
No. He wrote it out, and he did a good job.
Oh, okay. I can't write.
Yeah, his was hard to read. We had to work through it.
We had this really funny thing happen at skate night.
Because they stopped teaching kids how to write also, like by hand.
So I don't ever write anything. And because I'm on a computer the whole time, all the time. And we had this funny thing happened at our skate night contest last time where my wife is like, can you handle the checks? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll get Cody to do it. Because my handwriting is miserable. I have a brain thing where when I write, I mix between uppercase and lowercase like SpongeBob. I do it like too. The SpongeBob meme. And even
I thought it was just that men did that.
Maybe. Okay. And so the funny thing is, so what ends up happening is we do the event and then we got to pay out for the prizes and stuff. And I'm like, hey, Cody, all right, I'm going to tell you what to write because you got better handwriting than me. And he's like, okay. And then neither of us actually knew how to properly write the check. So we did them wrong. And then when my wife showed up, she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, we're writing checks. She went, oh my God. And she grabbed them and she wrote void and then ripped them.
Are you a product of the public school system?
No.
Who didn't teach you to write a check?
I haven't. It's because I haven't written I've never written a business check. Okay. And so there's slight things you have to do on it the way you write it out so they can't be manipulated after the fact, and then the receipt stuff you have to write.
Okay.
So neither of us knew how to do that. More importantly, I can't write. You know what I mean? But don't worry. I did go to public school for a few years, and then I dropped out of high school when I was 14.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't have a high school diploma?
No. Yeah, intentionally.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No GED, no interest in. Amazing. Did you know this?
I did know this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a waste of time. But, the thing is,
I wasted so much time in education, apparently.
I got my high school diploma only because I was the first in my family. No one else had. And so they were like, you were going to be the first. You were going to do it.
What do you need it for?
What did I need it for?
What does anyone need it for?
I only needed it so then I could apply to college.
That's not true.
Really? You didn't need to have a high school diploma? I mean, they ask for your transcripts and you have to have taken the classes.
Community colleges only require you be 18 years old.
Okay.
So what I did was so I was homeschooled before starting grade school. So my brother, my sister, and I were actually fairly ahead of the rest of the kids. School largely turned out to be a waste of time because it punishes you if you have good reading comprehension. So I was in 8th grade already understanding negatives, multiplying, dividing. In kindergarten, I understood division and multiplication, and the other kids weren't learning that until like a year or two later. So I was constantly punished for just always being ahead and being able to do math in my head. So it very much was a very negative experience. I absolutely hated it. And so my family said that computers and the internet since I was a little kid. I was always reading the news. So I'm reading tons of things online, reading encyclopedia entries and eventually like Wikipedia stuff. So what I did was when I turned 18, I went and applied to College of DuPage, and I took a few classes for 1 quarter. It was theater acting, which sucked, criminal justice, and yoga. The yoga class was literally just doing yoga, and you pay them to do it. And I think I did that one time, and then I was like, this is dumb. Actually, I wanted to do kickboxing, and then I found out that it was just women punching the air, and I was like, that's not what I wanted to take, so I left. And then after 1 quarter, and I think it cost $550, I now had some college on my resume. So when I applied at jobs that required a high school diploma, I just said my highest level of education is some college, and you're good to go.
I like that, outsmarting the system as a whole. I do not disagree. My son is 17. He's a senior, and he's miserable. Like he has to only be there 2 hours a day. He's taking a couple of community college classes, dual enrolling, and even those, not challenging to him at all. He's got A's.
Waste of time.
He's bored out of his mind.
Yep.
And it's very unfortunate.
Indeed. All right, let's grab some more. We've got, let's see, Joshua French says, as a citizen of Utah County, I hope I am on the jury. That will disqualify you on the spot.
Yeah.
They're going to ask you if you've watched media about it, if you've made comments about it, and you're going to say yes. And then they're going to say, you may leave.
Sorry.
Yep. All right, let's see. Concrete Haiti says, Tim, please, for the love of God, stop giving Candace all this free press. You're only increasing her influences and spreading her message. Address the idiocy without naming her or giving her airtime. Incorrect. There's a mistake people make because they watched a movie sometime. Have you ever heard the phrase, Tina or Libby, there's no such thing as bad press?
Yes.
Of course, I have a degree in communications and public relations.
And do you think it's true?
It's absolutely true.
Then why don't you advise a client to go fuck a pig in the middle of Times Square and tell me if the press is good for him or not?
Well, you want to do stupid things to create bad press. But as someone who runs an organization that has had majority bad press, but it's skyrocketed us on the national scene, like we always use it for our benefit.
But the point is when they say there's no such thing as bad press,
okay,
there absolutely is.
Okay.
And so right now, for the longest time, everybody knew what Candace was saying and nobody was speaking out against her. Slowly, as she increased her level of unhingity, I increased the level of critique until finally she said she called Turning Point a godforsaken organization that betrayed Charlie Kirk and to pull your donations from it, as well as the lie about taking off, oh, they're coming to kill me and that's why I'm leaving. And it's just, she crossed that line. She went too far. And now people are finally starting to come out en masse and call her out. The idea that you ignore someone who's getting 100,000+ concurrent viewers and it goes away is the stupidest thing ever. She is fundamentally wokeifying people. I don't want to say the right because I don't want to play that stupid woke right game. It's not the right. The Young Turks are watching her content. Anna Kasparian's talking about how she likes Candace Owens. It is this weird, largely female cohort that is becoming increasingly insane. So yes, people need to call her out and ridicule her for being insane, explain why she's lying, so that way, when I talk to people who are like, well, I don't actually watch her content, they're going to be hearing more and more and more of Candace is nuts and she's lying, and less of, I don't want to speak anything bad about Candace. So you've got to call her out. There is a such thing as bad press. And she's certainly getting it right now. The reason why she came out and said, Erika said she wants me to stop lying, which I will honor if she explains how I've lied. She has to do that because she knows if she actually comes out and says, no, Erika, I will not stop, it'll be very, very bad for her and her audience will turn on her. So she's got to keep incrementalizing and be very careful. That's why she said before, only her husband and Erika Kirk could make her stop, because she knew no one would tolerate her harassing a grieving widow. She's got to increment her way into that. People need to call her out. All right. Thems says, Candace may be acting out the following Black Mirror, Bête Noire, Girl Interrupted, Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and a whole lot of single white female and the invisible guest, obsessive females. Indeed. Indeed. All right. Let's grab some of these YouTube chits. David Bricken says, in the words of Assassin's Creed, nothing is true, everything is permitted. What does that mean?
Not sure.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I've heard that said in Assassin's Creed, and it sounds like something someone wrote thinking it sounded profound, but they don't actually understand what it means. It is a non sequitur. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. I get it. People are always lying, and you can just do things. That's one way to put it. But I feel like in the context of Assassin's Creed, it literally just didn't mean anything. I suppose they can just say, you can just do things. It always amazed me that there are people who don't realize that you can just do things. Like the high school diploma thing is a really great example. Everybody was like, when I'm growing up, but you have to get at least a GED, right? How are you going to get a job? And I was like, lie. And what? You'd lie? I'm like, do you think that McDonald's actually wants to see my diploma? Holy crap, dude. Or how about like you apply for a job and you show up wearing like a nice button-up shirt and a tie to apply for a fast food job, they're not going to care if you have a high school diploma or not. More importantly, I worked for American Eagle Airlines, which is American Airlines Regional, and it required a high school diploma. I didn't have one. But I took theater acting at a community college. And so when I applied, they said, what's your highest level of education? I said, some college, which is true. And they said, okay, good enough. They don't need my transcripts. They don't need any proof. Some college, I get it. When my friend applied, they said, what's your highest level of education? He says, high school. And they say, you're going to have to bring your diploma. And so he had to then go home, grab his diploma, come back later for another meeting where he showed and proved that he had high school, where I didn't have to do that. And I didn't.
You didn't have to do that?
No. Huh. The other thing is I once got a job as a director of a nonprofit. And I had done nonprofit fundraising. And so when I applied, it said college degree required. I don't got one of those. And so I listed all my accolades and I included the
college.
I just put College of DuPage, criminal justice or whatever. And so they called me in for a meeting because they liked the accolades. The accolades said I was a nation's best fundraiser. And the director said, so I see you went to college. And I said, I did. And they said, oh, okay. And how was that? And I said, it was great. They said, you studied criminal justice? I did. And that was it. How was that? I was like, it's very interesting stuff. And they said, why not pursue a career in the justice field? And I was like, not really interested in pursuing that. And they said, how long did you go to college for? And I said, 2 months. And they said, okay, well, as you should be aware, the job listing said it requires a college degree for this position. And I said, I'm absolutely aware. What I'll say to you is I am a nation's best fundraiser for Greenpeace, the PERG groups, the Human Rights Campaign, the ACLU, Children's International, Save the Children, etc. Now, if you want to hire someone with absolutely no experience because they're fresh out of college, then please do so. You have my blessing. But if you want to hire a nation's best fundraiser as a director of your nonprofit, then you can hire me. You let me know. And if it's a non-starter for you, then I appreciate your time. Thank you. And they said, okay, well, we'll give you a call. And then 2 days later, they called me and said, you're hired. So if the job's not for you, that's why I hate college degrees. Like if you can't do the job, your degree means nothing to me. It's really funny stories. I knew somebody who was studying music business on her 3rd year at Columbia. And I was like, so what, what are you studying? She's like, music business. Like, oh, right on. Like, what are you doing? Like, what have you done? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, like, do you manage any bands? Do you have like any records out? Like, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. I'm in college. And then I was like, you're 21. And she was like, yeah, I know, but I'm just in school. I haven't gotten a job yet. And I was like, I'm a high school dropout and I've managed like 3 bands and I've helped friends record music. And my buddy who's 18 is managing a band that's opening for a huge European tour with 5,000 tickets sold. And he's a high school dropout. What are you in college for? It's just so insane how people just don't understand you can just do things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's grab this bad boy right here. What do we got? Based African says, missed my chance to super chat this in the earlier episode, but Tim should review Bill Burr's explanation of how women argue. You're winning the argument against Candace. Just keep cool and don't call her a cunt. It was very appropriate for the situation. I made this point earlier in the morning. And I said, Cam Higbee put out a post where he showed the follower and subscriber count for Candace. The month before Charlie died, it was the lowest she ever had. 0 growth and the lowest views she's ever gotten on her channel. Right when Charlie dies, her views and her subscribers skyrocket. And I pointed out, that is a man's argument. To win an argument with a man, you say, let's review the numbers. Candace Owens made a tactical assessment on the metrics of her channel. Women don't argue that way. That is not how you win an argument with a woman. You win an argument with a woman saying, I think Candace loved Charlie. I think she was in love with him. Did you see how she was texting with him, like about his clothes and stuff? She loved him. And you know what happened? He chose Erika. He wanted to be with another woman. Could you imagine how mad Candace must have been? That's how you win an argument with a woman. The men don't understand that women tend not to be like sterile, cold, and calculating, and are more curious about the human experience and the social elements of what's going on. That is exactly what Candace Owens is doing on her show. She is not coming out and saying she's not doing the thing where she's like, let's go through the 990 forms and go over how much money Charlie was spending. What she's doing is she's saying Charlie's friends betrayed him. His friends did this to him. And it's like, and she has a massive female audience. And those are tendencies. Those are generalities, of course. My friends, we're going to the uncensored portion of the show, so smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Head over to rumble.com/Timcast IRL for the uncensored portion and the call-ins from the Timcast Discord at timcast.com. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Tina, did you want to shout anything out?
Shout out to all of our moms across the country battling in this culture war. Honestly, they are putting up with a whole lot of grief, a whole lot of attacks, lawsuits up against them. And our 320 chapter chairs are true warriors. So grateful to them. You can join Moms for Liberty. You can start a chapter, join a chapter, pick up some Moms for Liberty merch, all at momsforliberty.org.
Right on.
I'm Libby Emmons. You can find me on Twitter at Libby Emmons, and you can check out what we're doing at thepostmillennial.com and humanevents.com. Thanks.
If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is about to hit 384,000 subscribers, so if you haven't yet, go check out what we're doing over there. The schedule has been irregular lately as we're kind of shifting into remote episodes and stuff, so bear with us with all the things that are going on, but we're putting out content all the time. They just weren't live, but I will be live tomorrow, I believe, doing a 1-hour episode and then back to a regular schedule, hopefully starting on Monday. So follow us over there, and then you can listen to the audio versions of the episodes on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. Thanks, guys.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can check out All That Remains on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
We will see you all at rumble.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out.